Sunday, the Hardy Boys in a race with death. Then, a visitor from beyond all galaxies.
Who are you?
A demonic messiah with the power of life and death.
This man is some kind of a god.
Is this the end or a new beginning for Battlestar Galactica?
Word Balloon is brought to you by the League of Word Balloon Listeners. How we doing, everybody? It's time again for another Word Balloon, the comic book conversation show. John Suntress here. I'm welcoming back my dear friend from Comic Pop, Sal Crivelli. Good to see you, my man. Always a pleasure. You know that.
Pleasure's all mine, man. Thanks for having me. Great to see you again. It's been a while, but I'm happy that we're back on it, man. This is great.
Yeah, we got to check in every few months.
Exactly.
See how things are going.
we do a little check in. Exactly. Makes sense to me.
Absolutely. The kids are coming out in droves, saying hello.
Nice.
Hamza says Terminators. Indeed. Terminator.
That's right. Yes.
Fantastic Terminator story for Dynamite. Sure.
That's right.
And here's King So Sports Cal, Comic Pop Woo.
Woo to you as well. Thank you.
And yes, indeed. And also, I don't know about this Little Houses, Sal.
Yeah, that was the name of our channel back when we first started. It was TV Little House, because we used to do a production. Like we were getting into YouTube as like a production house, and we were like, oh well, I live in a little house. Let's film in a little house. Little House sounds like the name of the production. And what I didn't count on was like the Little House on the Prairie effect. People going on YouTube to watch clips for Little House on the Prairie. It completely ate into our metrics, and it just. It just killed. And I didn't want to be called a comic channel. Like we eventually found our way into the space for making comic content, but I thought, oh well, we'll be differentiated. I'm friends with the Comic Story and Comics Explained, all these different comic channels with the name comic in their title. We'll be different, and different is not always great. It's certainly not good for business. And so eventually, I think we hit 10K subs, and I was like, all right, we have to change. Like. I can't, because I had so many conversations with people who are like, I've never heard of you. I have no idea who you are. When I look for your stuff, I can't find it. And eventually, like, I think it was Benny who was just like, you need to change the name. And so we had a big meeting, an all hands on deck meeting with the team at Comic Pop. That's Tiffany, Ethan, and Ben. And we just sat down and hashed out a name. We went through, I want to say, like 50 or 80 different iterations of names, and then my dear friend from high school who went off to stardom in the video game industry just wrote back the name of the he just wrote, what you need, it's Comic Pop. And I was like, oh, thank you. We should have been part of the meeting about a week ago, or maybe a year ago. And yeah, but and we're still, it's funny, we're still like getting used to the name, because we are Comic Pop. Like Comic Pop is the umbrella from which we are all shielded from the nonsense in the space. Comic Pop Returns is our side channel. Comic Pop Plays is our video game channel that my wife handles. But we still don't own comicpop.com. We're still not at Comic Pop on Twitter. Like some Korean-based like manga or magazine-oriented company bought up those names and just parked them. They are just sitting there forever. I will never own it. I'll never get comicpop.com. And and a fan sniped Comic Pop on Instagram and then posted like 2 Funko Pops and then just abandoned his account about like 6-7 years ago. So I'm just like, and I'm not bitter or annoyed about it at all. Certainly I can't recall it immediately upon request or without request in this case. But yeah, so we're Comic Pop.
I had the same issue. And I always tell this story because she was lovely to drop it. Bridget Alverson, who is a great comic book journalist out there, I think she was at Newsarama, and she started a blog called Word Balloons. And I'm like,
my God.
hey, I was here 3 years ago. And she's like, yeah, but it's balloons. So it's not, I'm like, yeah,
Same damn thing.
but
Come on.
please. And she's like, all right, I'll drop it. And literally, like, for the next 5 years, every time I'd see her, I'd thank her. And she's like, all right, you thanked me. It's cool. Enough.
Yeah.
But I just saw someone else that did put up, hey, Word Balloon on a podcast thing. And I'm like, you fuck. Maybe
Come
look
on.
before you name your goddamn
That thing is,
show.
they never check. Like there were a couple of companies that came out, like a couple of like groups. There is a guy who is Comic Pops, and he sells on Whatnot. And I love when it's so funny because it occasionally comes up. I'll see it, I'll see a space where like there was a group on Facebook that was Comic Pop, and they were like, we're the Comic Pop podcast. And I'm like, that's not, come on, man. Like, just Google it. And we did. Like, by the way, just tips for people at home. If you're starting a brand, because every Tom, Dick, and Harry if you're online, you need a brand. Your brand is you. It's stupid and terrible and reductive, and it destroys the human condition. But hey, you got to get that bag. So you're creating a brand. Google the damn name before you commit to it. Okay. And if it's parked, like if someone has your favorite name on the top social media pages, maybe come up with another name, like come up with a list. I love them. By the way, every name that we rejected, like every name that, like Ethan was the best one about it, where he was like, he kept picking needlessly aggressive names. Like he was like, how about Comic Attack?
Van Sciver, you're talking about? You talking about Van Sciver or which Ethan?
Oh, no. Ethan, my co-host. No.
Oh, you'll forgive me. I'm so sorry. My apologies. My
no,
apologies.
our Ethan is cool and safe. No, we do not have any association with any other Ethans in the space. But no, my guy Ethan, he's like, what about Comic Attack? And I'm like, I don't know, it seems aggressive. I mean, it sounds fun, but whatever. and then he's like, all right. What about Comic Assault? And I'm like, I feel like that's even more aggressive. But he was just joking, and it was just. But by the way, every single name, and there are 4 or 5 of these, they all got taken. Like eventually, they all became
sure they did
names. Comic
I
Wars.
love it.
That's a great name. I'd be shocked if that wasn't taken. The other tragedy of every like brand that comes out there that you have is that odds are, given that there is no filter and the democratization of the internet has made everyone able to like do anything there, is that the name is probably taken, and it's probably taken by a couple of young bucks in a dorm room who had every desire in that moment to have a brand, and made 2 episodes of a podcast and then never did anything ever again.
Yep.
And the algorithm is like, but this is the brand now, is that dead podcast from 12 years ago.
It's sad but true. Yeah, man.
No,
we are airing grievances tonight, if you can't tell everybody.
Oh yeah, no, it is. Yeah, it's not festive, but we will be airing grievances.
Absolutely, man.
I'm just, it's the pitfalls of branding and being an online content creator.
Yeah.
These are things people don't talk about or think about, and I think it's important.
Well, also, Sal, as I was talking to other friends as well, there is no stopping anyone from doing what we do.
Absolutely.
Nothing. Yep. And that is the frustration. I forget who I was talking to because, it was Chris Irving even last night on my show. We were talking, and he's like, I used to submit articles to the Comics Buyer's Guide.
Oh, great.
And now I'm blanking on her name, the editor. She's always at San Diego, but
it's
long
not Heidi
time.
McDonald.
Not Heidi. No, not Heidi. But even someone slightly older than Heidi that's been doing it even longer, going back to when that thing was a newspaper in the comic stores and stuff.
Sure.
But maybe Maggie Thompson.
Mm-hmm.
But he's like, I had to submit my article. It was vetted by an editor. I had to have my facts straight. And now just some schmuck can open a microphone. And just go, Stan Lee stole every idea that Jack Kirby and Steve Ditko ever had. And it's like, again, it's like nobody's stopping them. And also the bad information. I mean, this is the problem. This is my only issue. Or, well, I shouldn't say it's my only issue. But this is my big issue with AI. We see all these shitty articles being spit out at all the platforms. And I remember they did a thing where it was a picture of Yvonne Craig as Batgirl, but they referred to her in the article as Batwoman, and they mixed up shit with Batgirl and Batwoman, obviously two distinct characters. And it's just like, this is shit. because there's bad information and
Yeah.
AI doesn't know the difference. Not at
No,
all.
and the thing is, like, the prompter, the person who's creating this crap, doesn't care. Like, what matters is virality. What matters is being first. What matters is getting like the bulk of your stuff. It's just like flooding the market with your crap. I mean, AI has unfortunately permeated the space to the point where it's like, it used to be, and I hate to be like old man yells at cloud or get off my lawn, but it's
We're right
like
here.
we're in that space of like, it used to be. And I love seeing it. And we were talking off mic about this concept a little bit, only on the superficial level. But like, it warms my heart whenever I go to a convention and I see in Artist Alley a couple of teenagers with a crappy camera and like a little microphone, and they are nervously talking to a comic book creator and shooting what will be a video that gets 12 views. And they think that if it's just the right content creator or the right like creator from Artist Alley, that this is the thing that's going to get us to where we need to be. And it's like, okay, so you're wrong, but you're also right. And here's why. No one's going to watch your shitty video about like you talking to anyone. I'm not going to throw any creator under the bus. I'm just going to say anyone under there. But what is invaluable is the experience. Like, you are learning things on the job. You're learning interpersonal relationship skills. You're learning how to manage your equipment. I couldn't tell you. I can. It's probably 3, but each time was devastating, and I remember each of them. But I can tell you, I've interviewed creators on the floor at cons, and the audio didn't record. So
happened to me.
That's just gone forever. And well, so in that case, did you go back and go, we didn't get the audio? Or did you go, I'm just going to pretend like we got the audio and then just hope that they never look for this video?
Yeah.
Like, what did you do in that situation? Did you talk to them again? Go, I lost it. I'm sorry.
Well, it happened to me in the field at a con with Kevin Smith when he was doing Daredevil the Target, and he handed the Billy Club to Bendis maybe at the show. I can't remember, but I was the kid with the little micro cassette recorder. Yeah, tell us about your career, Slugger. And it didn't record, so I didn't go back for that one. Okay. And I've tried to get Kevin many times since. Oh well, what are you gonna do? But
I did have the nerve. A small club.
But I did have the nerve when I did my early on in Word Balloon. I had Gene Colan on, and it didn't record. And I emailed him. I'm like, Gene, I'm so sorry. I go, can we do it? Is there any chance we can do it again? And it was a phone interview, and he couldn't have been sweeter. And was like, oh no, I enjoyed talking to you. You're like Bob Costas. It was a lot of fun. And at Mensch, immediately Mensch. And I bought art from him ever since, and I would see him every year in New York. And it's like class guy. Well, in my other barometer, not from any technical things, but the guy, I always say this because it's true. Mike Waringo was looking for my conversation with Jeff Parker very early on Word Balloon. And I'm like, could you come on? And he's like, yeah, of course. And after that, we really established this nice correspondence. And when I'd see him at shows, and I'm like, tell me everything I'm doing wrong, because I don't want to half-ass it. You guys deserve a quality interview. And, I had my experience in sports radio, but it's a big difference talking to somebody for 6 minutes on the phone versus trying to do an hour-long conversation. But you're right, man. No, it's good to get the field experience. And again, hopefully they will learn from it. And if anything, evolve. Like you and I have tried to evolve in these last years and everything.
That's right. Evolve or die. You need to reinvent yourself every few years, else you are left in the dust. The field experience is so important. You learn the equipment, you learn the experience, you make relationships, you hopefully create a rapport, you also get the jitters out. But that's the thing that AI unfortunately is robbing people of, among other things, or among everything, is the let's say that you have this fire in your belly to make content on the internet. And let's say you don't necessarily care what space you're in, or maybe you even have a passing interest in comics, but you're not necessarily, bleeding ink. You don't necessarily need to get over the jitters of, I got to be on camera, or at least I got to be making audio content, or I have to make something that marries video and audio, you can just throw it into a thing. It generates a voice. You can even make an avatar if you want to that makes the whole thing, especially if you make short form content that's vertical. I'm basically doing a how-to guide right now on how to grift comics. Please don't do any of these things. It's like the anarchist cookbook. Please don't do anything in the pages of.
But here's how you do it.
But here's exactly how you do it. But like I'm seeing it, and what's funny is the impulse has always been there. I was actually talking about this with my people probably a few months ago. The impulse of grifting and using the comic book industry to do it has always been there, because it's always been low form content. There's always been crap or slop or schlock, as we used to call it. Disposable content. Exactly. There's always been that. It's just that back then they used to have to you'd have to hear the voice of the person who's grifting. They'd have to make some effort. There'd be some measure of work, but the work is so minimal. It's so crappy. Like, just here's some panels, here's some pictures, here's a very loose, maybe it's a Wikipedia article that's just regurgitated by a person who's reading the article. Who knows? But now it's just like, it's just gotten, the process has gotten shorter, and it's gotten easier to make, and it's just amplified. So instead of there being like, let's say 50 of these grifter channels, there's 500 of these grifter channels. And with the nature of TikTok / Instagram Reels / everything else, they're only incentivized to make more and make as much as possible. And it's like, if this didn't work, make another one. Change the voice, modulate this. Get more pictures. Use one of the other chat bots instead of this one. But the impulse always been there, and so it's just like. Yeah. It's not a new thing that we're always combating, which is like, oh man, I'm in this content creation space and I'm trying to make something fun and interesting. That's the thing that also we've been fighting ever since we started, which is 12 years ago, you longer. The idea of like, there's channels out there, there's podcasts out there that are informative. They are there to give you the data. There's some hard-hitting Edward R. Murrows out there. I'm using a really esoteric reference, but this context.
I love Murrow.
But there's people out there who like care about this thing. There's a channel that I have. I'm not ashamed to admit it. It's certainly used to help me get context and then look for a book that I need. The Mary Marvelite. This guy. Oh, cool. This guy just gives you the data, and clearly that excites him. He's just like, here is the history of this character. And I'm like, thank you. And it's exhaustive and it's well researched. I know I can trust this guy. That ain't what I'm interested in. As far as what I want to make, let him do that. I don't want to be him. I'll be me. And what's frustrating is like when you're doing what you do and the audience conflates what you do with what other people do or what they're looking for.
Yes.
Right. Cause like, you're like, I'm sorry, I'm not the thing that you wanted, but you didn't look for me directly. And I hope that you notice that it's not like, what it reminds me of very much is a line from a television show that I know you love because you're in this space. If you're wondering how he eats or breathes or other science facts, just repeat to yourself, it's just a show. I should really just relax. Like, I don't want to hear it. Like, it's a show about puppets making fun of movies. If you're here for hard-hitting science fiction, you're in the wrong space.
You're in the wrong place, man.
When you see three chimps on a couch making dick jokes at Peter Parker's expense, I strive for accuracy, but don't expect it to be an exhaustive analysis. Although we do that too. It's just, in a different way.
Yeah, man. Also, your dear departed friend, Benny, a lot of times to catch up on an event that I blew off, I was watching his very detailed.
Dude, you are not alone. There are comic book luminaries, comic book creators who watched Comicstorian.
Thank you, man. Yes.
Yeah. There are. I know that there are actors in the MCU who watched Comicstorian and the DCU, but but I knew. I have heard / been told that there are multiple people in the space who are like, I need to know more about this thing. I don't know. I don't have time.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that, by the way, because I've been railing against this for years, and I'll mention it here just it has as much or as little as you feel like we delve into it. But I would rather someone watch Benny or the Mary Marvelite or Rob or whoever to get some context or what's going on for a character you're preparing for, or let's say like you're Kevin Feige and you're like, I don't really know a lot about Adam Warlock. Let me just see what these guys have to say about it. I would rather that than what clearly the people at Sony have been doing with Spider-Man since 2002. And that's watching the 1994 cartoon show. Like, that is the only thing that they have been doing since that show finished. Clearly, they're just like, oh, we need to watch that cartoon show because it's 22 minutes. It's for children. And I work in Hollywood, so I have the intelligence of a child. And so what else am I going to get? Like, what am I going to read? A comic book? What am I, a nerd? You know, I have reconstructive surgery to make me not look like a nerd. Come on. So
but I will give them credit for Spider Noir.
Oh my God! No, ironically, by the way, I'd heard a rumor, and maybe you did too.
Talk to me.
Like,
no.
There's actually there are conversations going on between Sony and Marvel about maybe finally offloading Spider-Man because Spider Noir did so poorly. Now, this is all conjecture. It's allegedly. I don't know.
Forgive me. How did so it didn't get good Amazon numbers? Is that what you're saying?
As I have heard, and I don't know this to be sure. I read a very poorly put together article about it, and I've heard like other people in the space kind of like parroting. It's probably unlike the way the news used to work. This is all coming from one. I'm sure a million different channels / bloggers or whatever you want to call them, content creators, all got the same like push notification from some raggedy crappy website that just says two things, like Sony's going to sell Spider-Man again, because they always, every 5 years they say that, and Spider Noir didn't do very well. I don't know. I've heard that the numbers aren't great, which I definitely know that. I have two thoughts on the subject. One, I think Spider-Man Brand New Day will be the highest grossing Spider-Man movie of all time. And also I think that in an age where that's the reality, a Spider-Man TV show where Spider-Man really should thrive, because he is the perfect avatar for serialized, multiple chapter fiction, because he's got the best like supporting cast. They want to make a Jimmy Olsen show. Okay, maybe I'll watch it. But you want to make a Daily Bugle show? I'm here.
I get that. I get all that. Are you liking Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man the cartoon?
I like it fine. I mean, it's for children. It's not for me. But
I hear you. No, I respect that.
I like it well enough, but like it's funny. I hated it when I had to watch it for another show, and I watched the first 3 episodes, and I was like, this is going to be rough after the first 2 episodes. By the 6th episode, I was like, oh, okay, I see what you're doing. And I appreciate it. And I was also like noticing that it was successful in other avenues that I wasn't expecting. And I was like, okay. Because the other thing is, I don't hate things because I think that they are taking the place of something else. Friendly Neighborhood exists, and not at the expense of a show that would have been made for me. So I'm not like that kind of angry person.
I hear you, man.
So, I'm like, oh, Friendly Neighborhood, probably not for me. Oh shit, I got to watch it for the show. Fine. And I watched it like on the elliptical or whatever. I'm just like, okay,
sure.
Like literally I'm trapped here. I might as well watch something with Spider-Man on it. and I liked it, but I was like, it grew on me. It was also frustrating because I'm also like, oh, this is cool. I wish that the MCU Spider-Man were like this. Like, I wish that there was more of this in that. But yeah, it's fine. I think I like Noir better because it's so, of course I do. It's so pure a product. It's just, and what's it called? This is the first show Nicolas Cage's ever done. I hope it opens the door for him. Not he needs doors open, but rather I want him to be like, oh, okay, I get it.
Well, also, much like Travolta with Pulp Fiction, he kind of needs a comeback project. And I kept saying, God, if this was a movie, this would have been everyone went, okay, he's back, because it played to all of his strengths. It's weird, it's funny, and he got to do drama, and he does all 3 well. And also, I don't know if you only watched it in black and white or watched it both ways.
I would actually switch during watching. Like, I would actually switch while watching, because I wanted to see what they were like. I was like, this scene looks really good. How does it look in color? Frustratingly, some of the best color graded shows I've seen on digital, like, on streaming.
Absolutely.
I'm like, and it's meant to be watched in black and white. I'm like, oh no.
But it works both ways. And I keep saying you appreciate the art direction, which is the sets, the costumes,
Oh my god,
the whole look of what was shot. But again, they did black and white really well too. And also, I've been trying to get the casting director. She's actually a Chicago woman, and I loved the fact that it was peppered. They had a couple beautiful people, certainly Felicia Hardy, and
Yes.
that's
Robbie
fine.
is in there. He's great.
Yeah, but they had like regular looking people, and it's like, hey, nice going. Hey, look, fat guys. Look, fat women. I mean, truly, and it's like, I get the whole. We want beautiful people because we want people to be entertained, but everything doesn't need to look like a Benetton ad. And really, especially doing Depression era New York, show some skanky looking people and stuff, man, because there were people barely surviving.
Yeah, or just show normal looking people, just people who look like human beings, who you could be like, oh, like it doesn't, whether they're attractive or not is immaterial. It's more just like a world that looks like our world, or reflective of real life. I mean, it's funny. I was just watching an interview with Gabe Newell, creator of, Steam and Valve. And he was talking about, and I'm more approximating his point, but like, he was like in a meeting and they were talking about like, well, that's not realistic. And he's like, we're in the video game industry. What? At no point while I was grocery shopping did I think, boy, this is exciting because of how real this is. Like, and it's true. Like, I don't, no one goes to watch TV. I'm watching TV or movies for escapism. I don't necessarily look for real life, although when it does, it wins Oscars and it's super effective. But I do miss that, like that kind of like weird valley we were in from like, when cinema was invented until like, 2010, when like they had people in it that were just like, oh, and here's a person, as opposed to it being like, we hired a beautiful person and then we got makeup on them and now they're not attractive anymore. And it's
God, yeah. Well, also though, again, referring to my interview last night with Chris Irving, he made a very good point regarding movies in general, that they used to be made by makers, and there was more craft behind the product. And now it really is product first. And, we can't do that, or we better put this in to appease this segment of the audience. And it's so by design rather than let's just tell a good fucking story. And it's so annoying.
It absolutely. I saw a conversation I wanted to say today where I don't remember who it was, but it was a luminary of some era who was talking about, I think it was a film critic, was talking about how much he would love, like how they were asking about franchise movies and IP and stuff like that, sequels. And he was explaining the history of like the remake and how, Hollywood's always made sequels and remakes.
I saw that. Keep going.
Right. Yeah. Hollywood's always made sequels and remakes, but the reason has changed. And the reason back in the 30s into the 60s was because that was the only way you were ever going to see that movie again.
Or like, that
they didn't have home video. Or that story.
Yeah, they would remake, because it was all about Star is Born. And certainly the modern audience knows Gaga and Bradley Cooper. But I didn't even know. I actually interviewed my dear friend Bud Schulberg, who wrote the first Star is Born with Frederick March and Janet Gaynor, I believe. But before that, it was called What Price Hollywood, and it's the same story. And then you had the 30s version, then you had the 50s version with Judy Garland, then you had the 70s version with Christopherson and Streisand, and then you had the modern version with Cooper and Gaga. And it's like, but you're right. And the thing is, now they're all over the place on they're on Tubi or they're on Paramount or wherever. And it's like,
now
no,
you can have a favorite version. You don't need that remake because you'll never see that story again, or it won't come around again. But the impulse is still there, because the impulse is make a thing I know how to make because I know how to make it and I need to make money on it. Like, that's Hollywood. Sure. I understand that impulse, and it's like, but he wanted to. He was talking about. He's like, I would love to see Scorsese's James Bond, or I'd love to see other filmmakers James Bond. But the problem is now with IP and branding is that like these studios are too precious with them. They're too careful with them. Everything's made by committee. Everything is being like micromanaged, and so you don't get the kind of enthusiasm. Like I remember, and you're a Star Trek guy. The idea being of a Quentin Tarantino Star Trek movie, I can't believe it got as far as it did, because I was like, I remember hearing that Quentin Tarantino wanted to make a Star Trek movie like 20 years ago, and I was like, well, good luck with that, QT. That's never gonna happen. and then it got dangerously close to happening because Paramount just doesn't know what to do with Star Trek. And I'm like, what a great and exciting time that would have been. Except it also would have been garbage because then that would have been what Star Trek is. Because that's how studios work. It's like, oh no, it's not that we made this thing really well. This is the way we do it now. It's like, oh no, Man of Steel is so miserable and bleak. Now the DCEU is miserable and bleak. And it's like, all doesn't have to be that way. It's like people who are confused about like my interest in seeing Pattinson's Batman in the DCEU. And they're like, but they're so different. I'm like, yeah, and so are these. Like a Batman book doesn't look, read, or seem like a Superman book. Like, it's okay for these movies to be genre different, but also come together in a buddy movie, like a World's Finest picture.
Oh, 100%. Well, they blew, again, Snyder blew it with Batman v Superman because both characters were dark and bleak. And it's like, no. As we all know and could have told Zach, Superman is the light. Batman is the dark. You need the contrast, and you need the good Lord. Isn't it sad that the animated series crossovers were infinitely better than, because they had people like Bruce Timm and Paul Dini and my dear friend Marty Pascoe, who was the story editor for the animated series and stuff, the Batman one, that understood the product and is like, no, this is how you translate it. Did you ever watch the 80s Ruby
Spears?
Ruby Spears Superman show. You ever watch that?
I did. Yes, that was the first Superman cartoon I'd ever seen, and actually, I bought it on DVD. I want to say,
how does it hold up?
Ago.
I haven't seen it forever.
It's not well, but it is fun. Like it holds up as well as any cartoon product from 1986. Because
the damn adults are like, well, there has to be a message, and let's tone down the violence. I mean, I loved the Super Friends when I was a little kid. And I'll watch them every now and then on MeTV Tunes, and it's like there is no drama whatsoever, and it's so sad.
For me, that's the same with like Spider-Man 81 and then Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, where I'm like, this as a kid during like my window of life, I was told by my betters that we're never going to get a Spider-Man movie. That like this is all you're going to get. Like go find old tapes of the 70s Spider-Man in live action if you ever want to see him in live action.
Sure.
And like the Spider-Man animated series was like either on its way or it had already happened. But like during this very narrow window of time, it's like you could get tapes of this old Spider-Man cartoon that came before my time, but there's nothing new yet. And so I'd watch Spider-Man 81 and Spider-Man His Amazing Friends. And I was like, this is just Spider-Man moving. I'm in. Like, I'm excited. I love this Muppet Babies episode with Spider-Man in it. It's amazing. But it's really not fun. Like, it's the conflict is just the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's cool to see. Like, is it cool to see Iceman? Like, is it cool to see Captain America or Namor? Sure. Even though they don't refer to him as Namor in the cartoon, it's Submariner for everything.
They just call him Submariner? They don't call him Namor?
In the 80s, they only called him Submariner. Like in the Spider-Man video arcade game, it was Submariner. Like it was like they were allergic to his name. I don't know what it was.
Hilarious.
But
I love the 60s and defend that 60s Marvel superhero show. And yes, it is just first of all, I love the fact that it's the comic panels and all they did was animate an arm or his mouth is moving and his eyes are moving and that's it. But my God, and it's so funny. I was watching some of the Submariner ones, and goddamn, man, they are great because they really are these great 60s Namor stories and stuff. And I love it more for the stories. And they really adapted some of the best stuff.
And that's the thing, right? Well, it's because they were like, well, it wasn't like they were going to waste time coming up with their own stories. They were like, let's use the comic. And the comic was ahead of its time in terms of what it was being adapted into. And it's so funny because like, eventually we'd get to like this period where here's my take on it. That Spider-Man cartoon from 81, like I remember the opening credits or opening theme. There were no credits. It's just a montage of stuff that happens in the show. First of all, if you didn't know anything about Spider-Man, you're watching that show, you'd assume Dr. Doom is his greatest nemesis because he's in that show like 12 times. And secondly, there's a big fat guy in a like a jumpsuit with like a welder's mask over his face called the Gadgeteer. He's in at least 4 different like moments in the montage. because you could see like, oh yeah, like the TV producers, like the guys who approve things like, yeah, put it on a boat, or yeah, put him in a Hawaiian shirt, like just what kind of like alchemy are you playing here? But they were like, make Spider-Man the size of a spider, because he's Spider-Man, you see. And then but if you're a Spider-Man fan in 81, you're like, his girlfriend was assassinated by a goblin man on a national landmark. Like, I've seen heavier shit in a book from 10 years prior to this. Why is this so stupid? But I don't know where the hell that came from. But like, it's just like,
all of that.
Eventually you get to you get to these other places. It's interesting you mentioned the Batman Superman cartoons, because those were certainly purer, or at least more spiritually respectful of the source material than the movies ended up being. But even then, like, what was it? I was just reading a thing with Mark Waid where apparently Mark Waid did not like the Superman cartoon because he knew that the people who were making Superman the animated series, the same guys who made Batman the animated series, clearly didn't love Superman the way they loved Batman.
Interesting.
Like Wade's point. Now, get him on the show. Let's call him up. Let's get him in here. But
he might be watching actually, but no, keep going.
Well, listen, Mark, come on my show, please. I'm cool. I'm not going to give you a hard time.
Oh, my man. Honestly,
he's been on the show before.
There are a lot of podcasters that are like, hey, can you help me get so-and-so? I can, and certainly this audience that is watching and listening to you can vouch for Comic Pop. And God damn it, remind me, because I think I'm going to see him at Terrificon in August.
Oh, nice.
And in fact, well, he even gave everybody the secret sauce in terms of, you want to book me? Here's how to book me. Come up with 2 questions I've never been asked before.
Oh, well,
and try and avoid the greatest hits. And it's like, okay. And I'm like, do I cut? He goes, oh yeah, well, we've known each other for a long time now. We're fine. Yeah. But hey man, in the early days, he'd be like, I literally would tease him about it, because he'd be like, all right, I'll give you like a half hour, maybe 40 minutes. That's it. Mm-hmm. I'm like, all right. And literally, I'm like, it's like taking a cab ride, watching the meter. Yeah. And it's like, all right, we're the flag's
going an hour and a half. Yeah.
But then luckily, through being friends with Art and Franco, he got to know me. We had dinner a few times, we had a couple drinks a few times, and now we're friends. And so I was like, okay, fine. So, I mean, again, 21 years, man. And you got your guys. You got Josh Williamson. He's a buddy of yours.
Josh is practically an employee at this point.
I'm so I make that as a joke, man. I'm happy as hell for you that's happening, because really, goddamn, the man's been having a moment for like the last 5 years. And good Lord, I mean, we will talk current stuff as well, the old shit.
Oh, we must.
But I may as well mention, I am loving this Reign of the Superboys event right across all the titles. Mark is killing it. Slot is killing it. And Josh, my God, what an amazing Superboy Prime story. Fantastic.
Yeah, it's it's just, and to tie it in with what we're talking about, that's just Spider-Man.
Yeah,
he's just, I mean, look, no, that's not reductive. That's perfect. That's exactly what I want. Like, he's just giving us Spider-Man in the DC universe, where it's like, here's a guy, he feels responsible for something that he will never be able to forgive himself for. He's trying to prove himself by being the hero of this metropolitan area. I mean, that's Spider-Man to me, and it's working really well, and I love to see it. Although I don't think Spider-Man annihilated Uncle Ben with an errant super punch.
Well, and also the last issue, the issue that came out in June, that absolutely is that nod to that fantastic Warner Brothers cartoon where Daffy Duck is being animated, and all the crazy shit that happens to him, and just all of the reality punching shit. I mean, it's been out. All right, it's I'm going to spoil it if people aren't reading it. That it's Manchester Black fucking with Superboy Prime and putting him through hell. And I loved that when they went back to Infinite Crisis, and he's just like, oh, fuck me, god damn, what am I going to do? And then especially when Golden Age Superman showed up, and it's like, oh man, all right, I'm sorry I killed you.
No, it's such a great run. Like, you can feel Josh's enthusiasm for the character and for this world. Like, his Superman run has just, I mean, it's what you want. Everybody thinks that their generation is going to be the generation that's going to fix everything. I really, but I'm not immune to that. Like, I was definitely like, well, everyone around me kind of has their head on their shoulders. I don't know. I mean, everyone else like a little older than them is insane, but I guess we'll figure it out. No, we're terrible parents. And we don't know what we're doing, and it's just a disaster. But with Josh, like Josh was clearly inspired by the runs that like I was reading. Like it was he's Triangle era Superman, and
Sure.
it turns out that like that is like the secret sauce that gets you a good Superman run in the 21st century, is just being conditioned on Dan Jurgens and and Jerry Ordway
and yeah, and Barbara Kiesel and
and Louise Simonson and all just the team, and it's just like that's all it took was just like getting that to work, and because I think people are going to be inspired by it. I think the next generation of the best Superman writers are going to be fans of this Superman run that's happening right now. And so I couldn't be happier for him, and it's just working for him. I wish that his Green Arrow run were as universally loved, but I think it got mired in like the absolute power and all the stuff that was happening in the DC universe. And I would clearly that book was not going to be greenlit unless it was also integrally tied to what was happening in the DC universe and all the dark crisis of it all. So I'm sorry that didn't get nearly as much attention, but like Sean Isaacs' art, hopefully it got in front of enough eyeballs thanks to that Green Arrow period. And we got the Bloodline War, which is near and dear to my heart as a millennial and a nerd.
Hilarious.
Bloodline's so terrible. It's the worst event I've ever seen.
It absolutely is, but I respect anybody that can take something shitty and make it great. Of course, Well, that's what I've been saying. Forgive the quick Star Trek interlude, but Jackson Lansing and Colin Kelly.
The last Star
Trek thing. Well, this last Starship, yes. And
so good.
The burn sucked ass on TV, and Discovery sucked ass on TV. And it's like, all right, but what did Star Trek do the next day after the burn? And it's this amazing story. And also, of course, their Kang story is incredible. Their
Clayface book was amazing.
Yes, everything. And I truly love those guys. I'd adopt them if I could, because really you're all younger than me, so what am I going to do?
Right, exactly. No, those guys are great. And I remember pitching the last Starship to a couple of my Star Trek fans, where I'm like, so it takes place this period. Yeah, it's the burn, and they're like, oh no, and I'm like, no, this is cool. They were also mad that Kirk came back, and I'm like, don't you want him back though?
Well,
and they're
but there's a logic to it of a guy that's desperate in the future, and they have the cloning technology to go, all right, we've all unfortunately devolved into a bunch of ineffective pacifists. We need an ass kicker to kind of figure this shit out. We need him. Yeah. And then again, if you're not reading it, I won't tell you how the story turns, but it is incredible. And I even read the latest issue that I think hasn't come out yet, Streetwise. But God damn it, no, they're really great at it. And Cantwell as well, all of his Star Trek stuff. But again, his Marvel stuff, his Iron Man run, his Doom run, his DC stuff, even one of my favorite Silver Age things, his Challengers of the Unknown was just outstanding. Chris is amazing. But that's the thing, you need the right writers to write the stories. And I mean that's the key in movies, television, and comics. All right, Supergirl the movie. Tell me your thoughts.
Okay.
Already for the audio audience, immediately Sal buried his head in his hands.
Well, it's just because it's such
it's complicated.
What a mess, right? And it's a mess for a variety of reasons. It's the worst possible time for a Supergirl movie to come out.
Why?
Because there is an engine that exists. It's like the Nothing in the Never-Ending Story. There's just this looming thing that's coming and ruining everything and taking away everything that is beautiful and joyful in the world. And it's an engine that exists online that it subsists on hate and rage.
Yes.
And it's piloted by no one, because no one really believes the things that it engineers. People think it, or maybe they feel it in the moment or in a moment, but they're not always feeling this way. And the people who do fuel that machine, it runs on you, the audience, and it is piloted by no one because it was built by a-holes who are manipulating you, who built it years ago and just let it run. That engine needs Supergirl movies and the Marvels and women to feed.
Shit on
and because Supergirl is no worse than any Phase 5 Marvel movie. And it is certainly not the worst DC movie I've ever seen in my life. And the fact that Variety would okay an article that said it was the worst script they'd ever read is clearly written by a person who either can't read or has an agenda. And it's like just hearing that, and I'd heard some rumblings about the movie before it came out, and there had been some stuff, and I'd heard rumor, and I don't want to say anything definitively because I don't know, because I wasn't there and I'm not on the inside track, but I had heard that, like, I mean, look, James Gunn saying that The Flash was like the best superhero movie I've ever seen clearly is a lie. And it's like, I respect James Gunn. I like his Superman movie. I was excited when he was in charge of the universe. I don't know if James Gunn is the best person to be in charge of an entire universe like the DC universe. I think he'd be better suited to making movies in the DC universe. I think he'd do an amazing Titans movie. I think he'd do a great Peacemaker thing, as he's doing. I think he's the right guy for any number of, like, Creature Commandos. Perfect choice.
Is amazing, absolutely.
And he's doing a fine job with Superman. It's just that, because he loves Superman, and I'm glad that his love. It's like Garth Ennis doing Superman, where it's like, oh no, Garth Ennis, and then you read a Superman, I'm like, oh, why is this working? But you think Batman is such an asshole, and it's like, oh, because you like Superman, so you won't let anything touch your baby boy. I get it, and it's so weird because, like, and it's so funny to see that, like, to see the most grizzled and miserable, or maybe even just like off the beaten path character go like, oh, but Superman's cool, which good. That means that they have some joy and some hope in their heart. But
well, they had it out for Millie Alcock from day one, so I agree
from
with
day
that.
one.
But I agree with you that it's and again, it's almost damning it with just mediocrity to say it was fine. Supergirl was fine. It was great,
fine,
but I keep putting it in rock band terms of it's kind of a sophomore slump. A great debut album, and then the second album maybe not so good. And that happens to a lot of bands. So, but I do have faith still in Gunn. And again, it wasn't Millie Alcock's fault. But you're right. There are these YouTube haters that go out of their way, and the knives are out even before they've seen a inch of footage. But
and
also, don't you think it's interesting that the studio, and I'm assuming Chris Nolan, regarding the Odyssey, is like, hey, fuck you, influencers. You don't get a preview. Because you can't be trusted with an honest opinion, because you're going to be mad at some of the casting and all this other shit. And it's like, that's not fair. And again, right now, the people that were allowed that are from established platforms are like, this is an amazing movie. I'm going to see it regardless. And I'll even be just generally honest and say, because it is, I wouldn't have made some of the choices that Nolan made in casting. That said, I know that Christopher Nolan is a quality filmmaker, right? And I'm still looking forward to seeing the movie and seeing what he does with some of these questionable things. And we don't have to go into detail on it. And then also, I'm going to give everybody a fair shot and go, okay, let's see what you got. And that's why, like, Supergirl wasn't great, because I had some issues with the writing. I had some issues with the choices. Again,
I didn't think Supergirl was like, I think it's apples and oranges when you compare it to other other movies in the same kind of like genre of superhero movies, because like it's not trying to do the same thing. Like, is Supergirl like the Supergirl in the Marvels? I think that the audience that exists, when you said they have the knives out, those are steak knives because they're eating off of these movies, or they're cannibalizing them. Like, they're not the engine that feeds on it, doesn't care about culture. They don't care about you, the viewer. They don't care about like making good movies. They care about feeding their interest. Someone accused me, because I complained on Twitter, and I refused to call it anything else, but I complained on Twitter about like the concept art poster they released that was like of Doomsday.
Of Doomsday, yes. Go on.
Yeah. And I was like, this is horrible. Like, because it looked like a Trapper Keeper. Like, it was ugly, and it was like, it was garish, and the average age of everyone on the cast was like 60. And it was just like, this is not like this isn't very exciting. But what I said was, this is horrendous, or this looks horrendous, because it did look horrendous. And I wasn't saying the movie looked horrendous, because I haven't seen the movie. Yeah. And I'm excited for it, and I want to go see that movie. But this looked like a Trapper Keeper. Like, it looked like just it looked bad, and it was not a best foot forward, and it was not exciting. And man, are people mad at me. But and it was my most successful tweet. And like an actual Eisner nominated creative said, "Keep chasing those clicks, Sal." And I was like, my brother in Christ, how did I get any benefit from this. I got 2 death threats and a suicide suggestion. I did not eat off of me saying that the concept art image that they put out for Doomsday was kind of ugly. That's outrageous to assume that. That being said, there are others out there who would farm that. I noticed that it was suspiciously absent of women, by the way. Notice there was for the X-Men, which is typically some of the people always want to go like, who's the Wonder Woman of the of Marvel? And it's like probably an X-Man, because there are more powerful and exciting and like front-facing superhero women on the X-Men than any other team in the Marvel universe. Yeah. And there's one, and it's effing Mystique. That's your X-Men?
Yeah, is Storm in the movie?
No!
Oh, Halle Berry's not in the movie, or not even anybody else playing her.
So according to Halle Berry, she's not in the movie. Could be a lie. Probably is. She could be Andrew Garfielding. I hope she is.
Sure.
Famke Janssen, not in the poster, says she's not in the movie. Could be lying. I genuinely hope so. Because this is it. This is the last time you're ever going to be these characters. And by the way, not like I needed it. I don't care. Oh, no. I didn't come from a place like, oh, no. If Richard Dreyfuss isn't in Jaws 2, he might not get to say goodbye to the audience. He said goodbye in Jaws. Like, we don't need send-off movies from the movie we saw before it.
I will say Jaws 2
to just go away.
I will say Jaws 2 is not a bad sequel for what it is.
I do not like Jaws 2, but I do like ideas for Jaws 2. I love that Brody made planters out of the barrels that they injected into. I love that. That detail really kept me watching for another 45 minutes.
It might be my Roy Scheider love that. I mean, and I even tolerated Sequest because of Roy Scheider. So
that's fair. Roy Scheider is a national treasure.
I adored it. I adored everything he did.
He's great in Tom Jane's Punisher.
Yeah, that's hilarious. No, you're right.
Yeah. But apropos of Supergirl. But that was all just to say
everything. Go on.
Yeah, that was all to say the clicks and stuff like that. Now it's like, but there are people who do go like, ooh, a movie starring a woman, and AI exists. So now I don't even have to worry about making a thumbnail because AI will make it for me. And it'll be just this very garish, but very like eye-catching, professional looking thumbnail that'll take me to a podcast of 2 overweight white guys who are complaining the entire time for 4 hours with super chats turned on. That's exploitative. Me complaining about a Trapper Keeper image from Doomsday is not. Eat me. That being said, I hope you get another Eisner nomination. Well, good luck to you.
You're awesome. That's fantastic. And honestly, I'm worried. My only concern. Sometimes when I catch myself when I say I'm worried, it's like fuck. It's a goddamn movie. It's a goddamn TV show or a comic book. You're not really worried. There's bigger things.
It's low stakes. It's the lowest stakes situation we could possibly be in.
But I am slightly concerned, given the size of the cast, that everyone has enough time to do something interesting, because this smacks of, and I love this movie, but it is a flawed movie. And it's so funny. My buddy Frank Santopadre did a whole podcast on it last week. It's a mad, 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 mad world. The comedy from the early 60s that has a million comedians in it. And they have a core cast, and then they have a bunch of cameos. And there's a lot of funny things in it, but it's a slog, and it's a really long fucking movie. And that is my concern. I mean, the Russos know what they're doing. I think they have proven themselves.
They know what they're doing with Marvel. They don't necessarily always know what they're doing. But with the Marvel that hasn't been a Marvel movie is like.
Did you not like the Extraction movies?
I had never seen the Extraction movies.
Okay. Well, I watched them because of Andy, because Andy Parks, wrote the original graphic novel they're based on. Yes. And in fact, he's got the new thing with Ignition Press, bringing the character back and stuff. So
that's nice.
And I'm rooting. By the way, again, they're all my friends. Philip Savage, my friend. Jeremy Hahn's my friend. A lot of the creators. I am rooting for Ignition Press, and I like a lot of the books that I've read. So that's cool, and that's a neat new publisher. Are you reading any of the Ignition Press stuff?
I can't say I am. I'm sorry to say. A lot of my time is taken up by like the usual suspects.
There's a million books. I honestly, this is where I feel kind of a kinship with broadcast talk show hosts, because literally I'll be like, oh, I'm having Creator X on. All right, shit, let me catch up on 6 months of Title A that I have not been reading, but I will catch up now and read everything. Or the graphic novel, I will read it a day or two before. I'm talking to, and I'm forgetting Morgan's last name, Green Lantern Corps. And we set it up. We're talking in 2 days. We're talking Thursday night, everybody. Word Balloon Live. And all right, I'm going to have to catch up on that. And I literally texted it or emailed him. I'm like, all right, what else should I read before we talk?
Yes.
And, you know, he mentioned his, I think, I want to say, was it Cyborg? He did a Cyborg miniseries, I think, a couple of years ago. I'm pretty sure. And a couple other things. I'm like, all right, good. I got a list. Let me check. And he even wrote a couple Star Trek comics and stuff. I'm like, all right, there you go. Great. And because, you know, yeah, I don't want to half-ass it, but there's too many books. But luckily, you know, when Mad Cave is doing Speed Racer, I like the cartoon. So I'm going to read Mark Russell's Racer X book. I'm going to read Peppos's Speed book. I'm going to read when Franco does a Speed Racer story. You know, that's okay. Flash Gordon, same thing. You know, Jeremy, who I love, and I love all of his DC stuff. When he and Will Conrad are doing Flash Gordon, my God, it was fucking amazing. So, you know, and by the way, Jeremy, I think, is one of the unsung, like, I think Jeremy needs more, and obviously he's going to get it, having written the first Nightfall movie part that's coming up. Yeah. But, like, is there, and maybe I'm misreading, and maybe Jeremy is getting more accolades than I'm giving him, you know, credit. But, you know, I mean, there's a crowd at DC right now as far as, you know, people that deserve attention. Is there a writer at DC that you're loving that deserves more attention?
No, because everybody that I'm reading who I'm enjoying is really getting their flowers, you know, like, oh man, Kelly Thompson's Absolute Wonder Woman has completely supplanted Wonder Woman as far as I'm concerned. Like, I don't like Wonder Woman as, like, I like Wonder Woman as much as I love the idea of Wonder Woman, and I've read some stories that I enjoy, but she's not my favorite character, and I've tried multiple iterations of the character. This first one where I'm like, I'm in, I love it, I love everything about it, it's all great, this is my new Wonder Woman, like, you are it. But there's so many writers that are just crushing it and doing a great job. I will mention there's a great writer that's in our chat right now, Jeff Thorne, who is of course
hey man,
hopefully underutilized, fantastic writer.
There he is. Hey Jeff, good to see you, man.
Yeah, and got his got a little bit of flowers in this chat right now. Somebody mentioned his John Stewart run, which I know is a big.
I gotta get Thorne back on. It's been a while since I've talked to Jeff. No, he's a hell of a writer, and there's a guy that I think deserves more opportunities.
Agreed.
And get some books going and everything. But no, I've loved everything that Jeff has written. Jeff, I'm so glad you're watching. That's fantastic, man.
But yeah, like as I'm trying to think of anybody where I'm like, oh, nobody's talking about this. Not really. I mean, yeah, I am. I mean, look, my two favorite superheroes are Batman and Spider-Man. So it's like, I'm not going to be the guy to find like the critical darlings, but if my wife Tiffany were on, she would definitely be able to bring up a couple of luminaries that she really appreciates, because she's the one who's reading things like she loves the Twilight Zone anthology from IDW, and what a fantastic book that has been, because it's
insanely great, and they're all
legitimate.
I've had so many people on about their Tony Fleece and Andy Price. I mean, listen, Tony's a dear friend, killing it on Deadshot. And more people need to read Deadshot. It's amazing. But that was great. And Andy Price, my God, My Little Pony, fucking Andy Price, who I got to know through Art and Franco, and he's one of my favorite guys, and always a fun guy to hang out and talk with. And also another guy that's shaking his fist at new Star Trek like I am. So he's my brother. But he has a completely realistic style in the story that Tony did for The Zone. And it's amazing. Gabe just had an amazing story. Gabe Hardman, my dear friend, that he wrote and drew. No, that is honestly IDW there, and also their Rocketeer stuff. The John Layman thing that he just did with Jacob Edgar was really good, and Gabe just started a new miniseries of the Rocketeer.
Yes.
I mean, IDW. Again, Chris Irving and I last night. When I grew up in the 70s, Charlton had like the Flintstones license, and they looked like they were on model with Hanna-Barbera. But of course, it was the 70s. They were shit stories. They just weren't. Yeah. Now you get a Mark Russell that takes the Flintstones and is telling these brilliant parodies that would have probably been, if the Flintstone producers were making the show today, these would be the kind of episodes. And it's a fucking ridiculously great book. By the way, everything Mark writes, DC, Marvel, and Ahoy. I had Russ Braun on today. We were talking about their Ahoy book that's coming out in the fall. They just wrapped up their Kickstarter for it and stuff. Another great writer that I saw briefly at the American Library Association trade stuff. You know what sucked about that show? There were so many comic book creators there, and you really had to hunt in the program to find out if they were there. Like I stumbled on Amy Chu, and I'm
yeah.
like, hey, what's going on? or one of my best friends in comics, Matt Fraction, is there signing at the DC booth. I had no idea he was going to be there, and I'm like, Jesus, man, good to see you.
Yeah,
so,
James, I will.
Go ahead.
Kenny Porter is doing a great job with his Elseworlds book about Superman. He's got that. What's the other book? Operation Iron Coffin. But yeah, Kenny Porter's a rising star in the DC world who's doing a really nice job. He did that Superboy Man of Tomorrow. Woman of Tomorrow. He did that Superboy Man of Tomorrow book. He's doing a great job. Another name that came into my field of vision when Dark Patterns came out was Dan Waters, who just
Dan Waters is amazing.
Blew me away.
Yes.
I know my wife enjoys Red Roots. Lorenzo Di Felici. He's the writer, artist, colorist. He's the artist on the book. So, but she really likes that book as well. There's a lot of books out there that are just like doing a great job. She just picked up The Eye Collector from Jonathan Ball and GMB Chromachuk. That's another solid book that she enjoys. This is just because I have an incredible gal Friday who's an indie darling. I can like glom onto her legitimacy and be like, oh, here are some references. I mentioned, but yeah, someone mentioned in the chat, like the Fury of Firestorm. That's Jeff Lemire. He needs no introduction. He needs no hype.
Well, exactly, man. No, and I'm so happy for him because and also Absolute Flash as well.
Oh, and Absolute Flash is great too. Yeah.
But no, well, again, this is the generational thing, Sal. 80s Firestorm. And again, Jerry Conway, genius. And that was the Spider-Man of the DC universe, certainly back in the 80s. But I love, and I had forgotten that what Jeff is doing is taking the moments of Doomsday Clock that Jeff Johns did with Firestorm and expanding on it. And oh my God, I have never been more excited reading Firestorm than I currently am. And
it was arguably the best thing about Doomsday Clock was the Superman theory or the Superman project, that concept, which, by the way, ruffled a lot of feathers. Like, people were really upset with that idea, and some of those people came back out into the woodwork or from the woodwork when this book came out. When I was like talking, I'm like, hey, they're bringing back the Superman project, and I'm like, no, I hate that thing. And I'm like, well, it's the first time that the Firestorm's been interesting to me in my life. So
me too, man. No, me too,
but I
man.
do like
and again, it was fine, and I liked him in Legends of Tomorrow. It was fine, and what I really liked was Victor Garber as Martin Stein. I was rooting for the kid that he merged with. I got to be honest, the actor, I have to have the closed captions on to understand what he's saying. He just has an odd, I don't know if he's British and that's like his American accent, or if he is American, but I feel like an asshole saying that because he's a black gentleman and I'm a white guy. I don't know what you're saying, Nick. Can you?
Sure, yeah.
Can you say it again there, jeez? But honestly, I'm like,
his voice.
What?
Yeah, it's true. Like, I had the same problem with that guy from Alien Romulus. There's one mushmouth Englishman in there, and I was like, could you please open your mouth? I have no idea what you're trying to say. And then about 2/3 of the way through the movie, I was like, oh, I don't care what you're saying anyway, because this movie completely lost me.
No Robbie, or no Chem Dog, not Robbie Amell. That's Steve's brother. I'm talking about the kid. He was like
Robbie,
But that was it's like his name was like Jackson or something, and he kept calling Professor Stein. I forget what he didn't call him Doc. He had a Gray. I think he called him Gray because he's an old man with gray hair or whatever.
I see.
But honestly, I watched the first season and then I kind of bailed on Legends. And I got to be honest, I've come back to it since it's been on Netflix. That's a great fucking show. And even as weird as it got in the later seasons, and of course, my dear friend Mark Guggenheim, showrunner, and it's so I almost apologize. I'm like, dude, I'm really sorry. I'm like, not that you needed my old man eyeballs on it. But by the way, that Arrowverse time period is going to be, I think, very fondly remembered as a really special moment for superhero television.
It was a moment I was not there for, and I don't think I ever will be. But my peers, particularly Benny and company, like, loved all of it, like just ate it up, and I don't blame them. Because it was like a real moment. Kevin Smith talked about it, how Jason Mewes was watching it when Gorilla Grodd first shows up, and I want to say it was Flash, and it was like, I can't believe that they did this. And I will admit, I saw that moment, I'm like, that's really impressive, and I can't believe they actually did it. But but for me, at the end of the day, it was still a CW show, and I was like, well, I'm just not here for that. But yeah, but I hope that it wasn't just like the CW Legends Arrowverse stuff.
Yeah.
Existed just for the people who watched it and no one else, because I have heard the opposite of that. I've heard people who are like, I just checked out Flash. That show is horrible.
Sure.
Like, I finally checked out Flash. It sucks. And I'm like, I don't know.
My complaint was, and it happened on all of the shows, too many other cast members that I didn't give a fuck about. It was cool seeing Wild Dog and Vigilante on Arrow, but they hung out way too long. Elongated Man on Flash, didn't need him. I didn't mind Vibe and Firehawk, or no, the character that Danielle Pennybacker, or however you say her name, who was part of the Star people, and then she had powers and was kind of bad at for a while. I didn't mind her, and I love her in Sky High. She's fantastic in Sky High. Is one of the
Sky High is amazing. That movie.
That's a fantastic movie. That's a fantastic movie.
But show it to your kids. It's great. I just as a quick aside, I always tell the story when I talk about Sky High. I like Sky High a lot. I think it's a fantastic movie. It's a lot of fun. It's great character actors. Just a couple of Kids in the Hall alums. It's great. I thought it was going another direction. This is one of those things where it's like, it's rare that I predict or like preempt a movie before the ending. Sometimes I just try to like turn my brain off and just let the story carry me. But in this case, I was like, oh, I know exactly where you're going, and I love every second of it. And then they didn't do that. And I was like, oh, okay.
Wow.
You know, the kid goes with the sidekicks because he has no powers. And the whole point is that, I mean, clearly it was made in the 2000s. The point is you're special no matter who you are. You know, and anyone can be anything. Good for you.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, is an evergreen lesson that, like, I know today, like, I know it's going to be lost. And I know that, like, some young kid in 2036 is going to be like, what if we believed in ourselves? And they're like, whoa, what about visionary? But notwithstanding, I thought that we were going in a direction because I was like, this is a kid's movie. Okay, I know exactly what we're doing here. Yeah. He has no powers. He's gonna go Batman with it. And I don't mean like straight full Batman. I was like, oh, he'll make friends with the sidekicks, and like one of them will be like a tech kid, and like the sidekicks will be like, you are the most normal looking, like you're the most heroic looking among us. So they all bring their talents together to make him into a hero. And so he approximates powers using their talents and using technology. And then, like, you know, at the midpoint, at the rising action, he like he is revealed to be a fraud. Someone like the girl finds out or whatever, but or usually it's like at the big dance or something. He reveals that he's like or they reveal he's a fraud, or it's pick your poison. It's revealed on him. The Carrie moment, or he thinks he's won the crowd, so he reveals it. Either way, but the superhero kids, they're like, F you. You're a fraud. You're fake. You're a faker. You're and go back where you came from. And so, he has to go back with his tail between his legs. And then they are all, imprisoned or trapped by the big antagonist. And then he proves with all the sidekicks showing their talents that, like, you don't have to have powers to be a superhero. I was like, that's a great lesson. He's just Superman. Moving on. And I'm like, oh, okay. Well, this movie's still fun, but I thought we were going in this.
Yeah, that's all right, Stel. I would have watched your movie. You know what you're doing.
I was like, this is cute. Okay, and it's like, no, it's just he has powers. It's just he's a late bloomer and he's just dumb. I'm like, oh, okay, well, that's still fun.
but it was fun for what it was. And again, I mean,
absolutely,
it's interesting because honestly, dude, as you know, I'm 61. I mean, and again, I love what I love, and I'm glad that I still love the crazy superhero shit that I love and everything. But I'll be honest, like in Mandalorian and Grogu, when the little alien mechanics and Grogu are fucking around and stuff, I'm like, all right, this part of the movie's for the kids. That's fine. I'm okay with that. That's all right. I actually liked the tiny aliens in Supergirl much better than I liked in Mandalorian Grogu. Now, I want to ask, because you're younger, and I don't know where you are on the He-Man spectrum. I loved Masters of the Universe.
I also
loved it more than Mandalorian and Grogu, frankly.
Oh, yeah. Well,
and
Mandalorian, yeah. He-Man's a movie.
As we know, Mandalorian was really season 4 turned into a movie, and it's that's fine. And I will say, it's the best theatrical release that Star Wars has had. And I liked Solo.
I liked Solo too,
and I liked Rogue One. So there have been a couple of the new things. The sequel trilogy sucked ass, and I don't feel bad saying that.
I liked Force Awakens.
Yeah, I did too.
But the more you watch it, the more you're like, oh.
Well, it just kept going. Yeah, it got progressively worse. I mean, that's the thing. And Last Jedi, there were just some things like what, and then also just the stupidity of the guy that made Last Jedi, and his name is
Ryan Johnson. Yes,
yes, Ryan Johnson and JJ not coordinating, and it's like,
that's
Jesus, across the street, your own company. There's coordination in Marvel movies. Maybe you guys could have like talked a little bit more.
Well, it's just not how stories are told. Like, I don't understand why like there was no conversation at all. Well, and the fact is, clearly, Abrams was not supposed to come back,
right?
But Abrams, like Abrams is a great choice to direct a Star Wars movie, but you also need like a producer who's as powerful as him to tell him no, like get your Mr. Boxes out here. We don't want to do that.
Yes,
like just direct the movie well. I don't like Star Trek like Kelvin timeline, but those movies, especially 2009,
the first one was great.
You can watch that movie anytime. It's fun. It's like, for me, it's like Tron Legacy. You can throw it on anytime, just watch it.
Yeah,
and it's just endlessly charming. Everyone in it's on their A game. They're just killing it. Carl Urban, international treasure. Everyone's just amazing in that movie, and it's beautiful looking, and it's fun to watch, and it's a complete and utter blasphemous disaster of a Star Trek movie, but also it's so fun, and I don't care. I even don't mind Star Trek Into Darkness, but I don't like it. It's not good, and it's not a Star Trek movie.
It's got a couple little moments. I like Scotty and Kirk fighting.
Yeah.
And really that one great moment where Simon Pegg's like, Jim, for the love of God, do not let those things on your ship. What are you doing? And so it had moments, and also, my God, they dodged a bullet for the whole Me Too thing. I love Alice Eve, and I love Alice Eve in her underwear. I won't deny it.
Sure,
but the most gratuitous fucking scene ever in Star Trek, and even going back to the goddamn 1960s, it's like, turn around. And it's like, hey, here I am.
Yeah.
And again, it's like, I'm thrilled that the screen cap exists, but that said, I'll admit I'm a dirty old man. It's sad, man. Again, these people are 40 years younger than me. I'm not a good image for Uncle John, unfortunately.
Fair.
But anyway, that said, it's like
what was sad was that Alice Eve wasn't brought back in the third movie, because like the whole point is that she like trades her biological family for her found family, and then like, and she's not in the third movie.
Yeah,
it's like, oh, that sucks, because she's actually a really good actor too. It'd be really fun to see.
My God, yes. Oh no,
coordinate with that.
She's out of my league. She's incredible. And
she's
out of my league, and everything that she does. No, I like
Carol Marcus, right? Like she should be. Like we should see that relationship. Nah.
Yeah, exactly. If you're going to put it in there, do something with it beyond the stunting of, oh, look, here's Carol Marcus back when they were kids. No, I agree.
Oh well, yeah.
And also, as great as Idris Elba was in Masters of the Universe, man, completely wasted under all that latex. I'm like, you've literally got one of the most beautiful men in Hollywood today, and you barely see him for like maybe 3 minutes at the end of the fucking movie.
That third movie is fun to watch, but also it is such a consequence of the writer's strike. You're just like, oh yeah, no, like writers did not make this movie. This was a Simon Pegg joint. It was, by the way, he's a fine writer. He does a nice job.
Oh, I'm a fan, and he's a legitimate nerd. Good Lord, Spaced is one of the greatest nerd culture TV shows ever.
Space incredible. But that being said, Masters of the Universe, I really like that movie a lot. Like, okay, so I like that movie and I wanted it to succeed. It's not very good. Like, it's not like Shakespeare, but it wouldn't be because it's a Masters of the Universe movie. It's a toy commercial. Yeah. But like, there's a couple there's a lot of moments where like the characters, they'll do something and then we just do something else, or it's just like, it's a lot of like what I like to call placeholder dialogue. Like there's this the great scene with like Tila and Man-at-Arms and He-Man, and they're in the woods, and I'm like, here we get a scene with like the characters interacting, and like it's all very superficial. There's nothing really there.
That's fair.
It's a He-Man movie. It's all superficial. I don't care. There's even a monologue by the villain who's like, it's not about that. It's about being bad and good. It's bad versus good. It's dumb. It's supposed to be dumb, have fun. Like, I appreciate that, but like Star Wars is dumb too, and I feel like there's depth in the dialogue there sometimes. But I like that movie. I was rooting for it. I was not surprised it failed because it's He-Man in 2026. Yeah. But I love that Jeff Bezos is like, I don't care. I like He-Man. Here's a sequel.
Well, and also the agenda of Amazon and Amazon Prime is very different from a traditional studio. So we might get a sequel.
Yeah.
I have no idea. And I hope we do, because the comedy worked for me and reminded me in a very different way, but at least spiritually, of The Last Starfighter, one of my favorite 80s movies, where the tongue was firmly in cheek, as well as The Good Adventure. And I love the opening with that woman from the 2010s that used to be on SNL, that was He-Man's boss in the human resources department. She's great. And also, unlike Tron Ares and 8 million other movies the man made, way to go, Jared Leto. You solved the problem. You took the Jared Leto out of Jared Leto's performance, putting him in the mask, having his voice harmonized, and he was a fantastic Skeletor. And that end scene where it's all in He-Man's mind, and he's back in the gym, and all the little moments and shit. No, I and also, good Lord, and now I'm blanking, Enchantress. Marina
Baccarin?
Marina Baccarin, but also, no, so not Enchantress. Skeletor's number 2 from Community. We love her.
Evelyn.
Yeah, Evelyn.
Alison Brie.
Yeah, Alison Brie, yes. Yeah, Alison Brie was great. And also,
Alison Brie knows the movie she's in, too.
Alison
Brie was like, we're making a dumb movie. I know it. And I'm
gonna totally lean into it and have a ball. And she's fantastic. And I mean, that's the thing. So no, I went in with no expectations. I was too old to. I respected that He-Man was out there during the Filmation days. But, you weren't. I was in college. I was trying to have sex with women at that point.
Yeah,
I was of age.
He-Man was not watching that. He-Man isn't for 10-year-olds. It is for like very small children, like
7-year-olds. Yeah, okay, all right.
Well,
but then my buddies Tim Seeley grew up on it, adored it, made the great coffee table book, The Art of Masters of the Universe.
I have that book.
There you go, man.
It's a
cool book.
He-Man's actually before my time, but I inherited He-Man because by the time I came along, no one wanted their toys because the children were all like, they were hitting puberty. And so my mom like scooped up He-Man toys from either like friends of hers or the curb and was like, here you go. And I'm like, oh, I guess I like He-Man because, by the way, that's exactly what He-Man is for. He-Man is like a template because that show is horrible. It's like there's it's hard to watch, but it's not there for plot. It's there for you to get like an idea so that you can then make your action figures do something more interesting.
Yeah.
And the action figures are friggin' incredible. And that, but I was hopeful for that movie and I'm sad that it failed, but and it's interesting to see how many flops in this space that if any of these movies or all of these movies came out when Aquaman came out, they all have made $1 billion.
I completely agree.
And yet now they're not. And I'll still say, I think Spider-Man Brand New Day will outgross Doomsday, but we'll see what happens.
Well, I hear you. And I kind of agree. And again, Deadpool Wolverine showed that, no, if you've got characters that are known, they will go see them in the theaters. Yes. Obviously, COVID and the strikes really fucked the theaters, and we haven't recovered. And that's why, Superman underperformed. It only made $600 million. It's like, but everyone now is like, I'll wait for streaming. I don't have to see it right away. And we'll see how Supergirl is received when it's on HBO Max and whatever. But
I'm sure it'll find its audience there. Fantastic Four was incredible
last year. It's a fun movie.
Fantastic Four.
And Thunderbolts was a good movie.
I also
knew who the fuck they were other than Bucky.
Yeah. Well, and that shouldn't matter, right? Because nobody knew who the Guardians were when they went to see the Guardians movie, and it made right. $600 million.
But again, a different time, man.
Different time and different, it was not cool, but it certainly was
it was fresh.
It was part of the conversation. Like, go see the new Marvel movie and then bring it back into the water cooler. In this case, it was like, and also, if you go see a Marvel movie, you're going to have a good time. That was like a guarantee. So it's like, oh, okay, great. Well, then I'll go see this new Guardians movie. With now, it's like there's no guarantees, there's no promises, and like everyone's broke, nobody's happy. Screens have taken over our lives, and the theater is a terrible experience. Like COVID rotted everyone's shame centers. Like people don't have the same filter. And you could see it in people's driving and in people's etiquette across the board. Restaurants, theaters, outside, public, DoorDash, streaming. It's all destroyed and eroded the cultural ability to interact with each other, which is also probably part of the engine that's destroying everything, because like, good, keep them all separate, don't let them all unionize or coordinate, just make them all automatons who hate each other and not me, you know. But yeah, I mean, like, I want to, I love going to the movies, and when I was a kid, I used to, like, I have this band of ticket stubs from when I was a kid, like going to see movies, and I pride myself on like seeing at least half, if not like all of the Best Picture nomination movies, and I'm just like, I don't really like care, you know. But there's a part of me, could be that I'm old, but it's also like, I don't care, you know. Like, I see a thing and I'm like, I don't care. Like Toy Story 5, I'm like, oh, it's about screens, that's great, good for you. I'm never gonna see it, because you know what? I'm sure it's good.
It is good.
I hated Toy Story 4, so I was like, well, then I'm not gonna go see this. And it's just like, I'm just so like, and everyone is just like, ugh. And then you go to the theater, and it's like, okay, let's go see a movie. I tried to get tickets to go see Master of the Universe before, like, you know, I pre-ordered tickets for Supergirl and Masters. My theater wouldn't let me pre-order tickets for any screen other than IMAX.
Oh, I hate that. Like, I know.
You have destroyed my ability to do this.
Like, you, no shit.
By the way, I did, but I was like, I do this for a living, I can buy IMAX. But like, I that sucks for anyone.
Yeah.
And you know, and then I went, and it was fun. And then, you know, the IMAX at an AMC it's not an IMAX screen, it's just a slightly larger screen than your normal screen.
You know, well,
I'd rather see it at Dolby. Like, Dolby is where it's at, because it's like good sound, crisp video.
Have you ever done 4X or whatever, 4D rather, or whatever?
I have not. We did. I don't know. I don't know what theaters in my area are 4D, or 4X or whatever.
Whatever it's
I do want to do it, but I hear it's like painful. Like, I think for you, I think for you and me, it's like, it'll just hurt.
Yeah, it literally. First of all, because I wanted to see The Flash in the theater, because I knew I'd be talking about it on the show.
Mm-hmm.
And just like you, it's like, we can write it off because it's a business expense. Okay, fine. That's where we're fortunate as content creators. I get that. And then like, oh, you know, you missed the standard 4X is going to start in like 10 minutes. Or I'm like, all right, let me do the 4X. And I mean, it's great for kids, but literally your chair is moving. It's like a carnival ride. And when there's gunfire, they spray like a steam of water at you, which is unpleasant. And also, I was wearing sweatpants with short pockets, and literally my iPhone and wallet were flung from my pants. And I knew they were in my general area, and thankfully it wasn't a crowded theater. So, like, really, Art and Franco love hearing this because I brought it up in the show. And I'm like, all right, I know it's close by. I got to wait for the lights to come back on in the theater to find my wallet and phone. This has not been a pleasant experience. In addition to that, listen, I don't care about his personal life. I never warmed to Ezra Miller as the Flash. And to have two Ezra Millers is too many Ezra Millers.
I couldn't believe. Anything. Yeah, it was like, Ezra Miller is not the solution to your problem. And then they went, what if we doubled it? And it's like, oh no. This is, and one of them is actually repugnant.
Yes, like, even more Ezra Miller than
how is it possible?
Yes,
like,
and you know what sucked? There really was a very sweet and sad story in.
There's a movie in there,
and they also didn't need all the fan service bullshit with the multiverse at the end.
That didn't get cut.
The whole thing, and I mean, I love this about, and Johns did it obviously in Flashpoint, but the whole thing of, I just want to save my mother. And then that poignant scene in the supermarket when he's setting everything back, and he sees his mom, and his heart is breaking because he knows he's just setting everything right, but his mom has to die for everything to be right. Oh my God! Now that even got me. Yeah. But again, unfortunately, it was surrounded by and also Michael Keaton was great, and that Supergirl was really interesting.
Yeah, she was.
But otherwise, it was unfortunately a failure of a movie, and I'm rooting for that. I'd like that director to get another crack at a different script. And
I only hear bad things about that director, not about him as a person.
Oh, really?
Certainly. I didn't see it too. I hear it's terrible, but I don't know. I hear he also directed The Show, which also isn't great from what I hear. I did not like Flash, and I also don't believe in the we owe him a movie concept. Because I think, and I've heard rumors that the Supergirl problem, the Supergirl movie, is the result of that. Like, I don't, like, people were like, why are they making another super movie after the Superman movie? Like, Supergirl? What are you doing? Like, why is there so many super characters? You got to diversify. And it's like, the rumor was, well, they were making a Sasha Calle Supergirl movie originally, and then they had to make another Supergirl movie. And so here it is. And it's like, that's fair. not that's fair, but I understand that might be true, and that sucks that that's the case. I totally get the motivation of like, well, we'll just adapt the one Supergirl movie that's like this book, and make that into a movie. It's so like cinematic in and of itself. It's a slam dunk. Oops. But the Andy Muschietti directing Batman, I'm like, what? Like, okay, well, the Supergirl thing was a bad idea. Like, so letting this guy do a Batman movie is not a good idea. Like,
I understand.
Yeah, really, like he's supposed to be like, if you're the captain of the ship, don't steer it directly in icebergs with your horrible multiverse ending or with your bad decisions. Like, it's just a disaster. So I'm worried about the DCU. Also, it's being Paramount's hostile takeover and just I know everything is going in the wrong direction.
I know. Well, I'm rooting for Gunn and I'm Peter, whatever his name is, like his partner,
Safran.
Yeah, Peter Safran. I'm rooting for them to keep their jobs because again, I've liked enough of Creature Commandos, Peacemaker, Superman.
Oh yeah, no, they're all good products.
Suicide Squad, and then that's why I'm like, I'm still on board. I think Man of Tomorrow, especially, we're finally getting Brainiac in a movie. I think that's great. I'm excited for all that. So I'm hoping that and we'll see what happens with Lanterns. I'm hoping for the best. I think the actors are cool, and I don't mind that they're doing Hard Traveling Heroes as a purely Lantern story. That's okay.
Yeah.
Because I know people are like, well, it'd be great if Ollie were in there, and it's like, no, they got to focus on Green Lantern. It's all right.
I mean, if they're making Hard Traveling Heroes, that's exciting. It looks like True Detective with some lanterns in it, which I am not excited about. Like, I appreciate it. I know Tom wrote a lot of it.
Yes.
Like, he's involved. Like,
well, he's involved.
Whereas,
yeah.
Like with Supergirl, they adapted Tom's comic. With Lanterns, if that show does not work, you can blame on Tom.
Well, now respectfully, and again,
and Lindelof, another company.
He's only one writer in a writer's room.
Yes.
So we'll see what we get. Supergirl, though, I mean, my God, all the changes they made were not necessary, and it really, and also, I will spoil. I'm sorry, her killing the bad guy was just as bad as
Zod?
In Man of Steel was Zod. Yeah, that's like the supers do not kill. The supers don't
Superman doesn't kill. I don't care about Supergirl as far as kill, because then she can go on that journey. She can be. But Sal,
this is supposed to be like I love the fact that the Melissa Benoist movie or TV show was a show that inspired little girls. One of my favorite things before the show started was that wonderful publicity shot of her with her fist in the air, surrounded by either the Girl Scouts or the Campfire Girls, whoever the fuck they were. And it's like, if I had an 8-year-old kid, I don't know if I could take it. And it's not the drunk thing. It's more the alien slaving of the female alien thing. Yeah. It's like, no, that was completely unnecessary. He's already an asshole that killed Ruthie's parents. That's enough. And also, I love old movies. And I mean, Tom told me when he was writing Woman of Tomorrow.
True Detective. It's True Grit. Yeah.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Exactly. Yeah. Tom and I love old movies. And he's like, you're going to be so happy with my Supergirl story. I'm really taking True Grit. And Supergirl's Drawn Wayne and Ruthie is Kim Darby. And Lobo, well, again, in the movie, Lobo's Glenn Campbell. There is no Glenn Campbell in Tom's story. And that's the other thing. Momoa was great as Lobo. I didn't like his fake cigar. I really hated his fake cigar.
Was it fake? Is that what was going on?
Fake. It looked weird. It's like, give a fucking normal cigar. Well, it's a space cigar. Whatever. I mean, whatever.
Like, Momoa was born to be Lobo. It's funny. I don't like Lobo. I think Lobo's annoying. Like, I think he insists upon himself. But I do appreciate but Lobo being in this movie, I was like, there goes Lobo again. Like, I was kind of happy that Lobo was here, and I thought he was great and fun and ridiculous. And he didn't draw away from he wasn't ruining the movie or taking away from what Miyazaki was doing.
You didn't need him. You really didn't need him.
No, but what's funny? If you didn't have him, then you just have this movie. Like, then it's just
that's fair too.
Then you have to fill it with more Ruthie, which it's fine if she were Ruthie, but she's not. Like, she's somebody.
To be honest, I think they could have cut a lot of stuff. Like also the whole Green Sun thing. It's like, fuck you. She's gonna be fine.
That's the only thing from the comic. That's a great sequence. I love that. I wish it was done. I wish they kept doing it. Like, I wish they'd done it all. But that's a great scene.
And I got to talk to Wade for legitimacy here. I understand that under a Green Sun, they're not as powerful as they would be, but
Oh,
that they die from the Green Sun.
Oh, whatever. Tom made that up. It doesn't matter. Like, it's just
Yeah, that's true. It was in Tom's story. That's fair. That's a good
Tom
point.
doesn't care about that. It's just about what happens. It's just about like getting the emotional core.
But no, honestly, I really felt there were parts of Supergirl. I'm like, all right, let's go. Even the climax, I'm like, all right, we all know where this is going. And as much, I do think all the fight scenes were great.
I liked them too. Yeah.
But it's like, all right, let's go. Wrap it up. We know where this is going. Wrap it up.
It's funny. I was like, I could feel myself pulling away from it when it first opened, but as we were getting more acclimated, I was like, oh, this is fine. Like, this is not abrasive or losing me. I appreciated what they were doing with it. I really liked all the I liked the story. I liked the acting. I liked the CG and the fight sequences. I liked the Marvels. I didn't hate it. The worst thing about the Marvels is the villain, who is just not supposed get her out of there. Not because she's a woman or because she's a bad actress. Just there's nothing there. And it's like that is the biggest problem with all these superhero movies, is just like the villain kind of sucks sometimes. And when they suck hard, like they suck on toast, but like when they're good, they're great. Yeah, like when they're good, they're great, and when they suck, they like, it's just like they shouldn't even. You might as well not even have them there, you know. But I liked Supergirl, and I'm sad that it didn't do very well. But I wasn't terribly surprised, and and Superman didn't do as well as it should have, and that's a shame. And
but again, I think that's just that the viewing habits have changed, and everyone 100%. Everyone has to accept that. You're going to get a Minecraft, you're going to get a big kids. Like Toy Story obviously is doing great. You're going to get that kind of thing. But as far as like adult or general audience theater stuff, I'm sorry, no, people, it has to be. And especially the other thing I've been saying regarding Supergirl is, if it's a female-led movie, I wish this were different. And the same goes for TV shows. They need to be exceptional to make a mark. The same, like Taylor Sheridan with Lioness. Lioness is an exceptional show. That's why it's a great show. And I haven't seen the Michelle Pfeiffer thing that he's made, but I'm hearing good things about that. But unfortunately, that's just the reality, that a male movie can get by with just so. A female one can't in today's environment. I really wish it were different, but it's not. And take that into consideration. And when you're trying so hard to be more diverse and be more inclusive, you can't throw men completely out or make them the bad guys all the time. I'm sorry, but you need, and I'm not saying that for Supergirl.
They did that in Wonder Woman and it worked fine. I mean, like, the Wonder Woman movie is so excellent. Yeah, the first one. No, the second one might as well not have happened. But the first one, because the first one is like a revelation. Like that, it's fine. Like, it's not like the world's best movie, but it is.
But it was really good.
But it's competent, really good, and it's well made, and it was exactly what the audience needed, because it was like in that time when superhero movies were becoming a big thing, and like and women could enjoy it, and it was so like valid. It was so beautiful to see. Like when we saw it opening day, like we saw like moms bringing their daughters, we saw grandparents, like, or like old women in the theater, and they were all like moved by these moments, and like and the filmmakers like knew what they were doing and how to portray it. Supergirl isn't trying to be that. Like, Supergirl's like,
it should.
I don't think it's not fair. Like, I would be bored as an audience member if every movie that's like Shang-Chi is fine. I liked it. I loved it. Third act is a disaster, but I liked it. But Shang-Chi is a Marvel movie. Like just a die in the wool, by the numbers Marvel movie, starring an Asian lead with a primary Asian cast. A+, that's great. Good for you. Keep it up. That works. It doesn't need to be like representing everything. It just needs to be a competent movie that is fun, that works with a cast that does this. And it speaks to that group. Same with Blue Beetle. Blue Beetle didn't do well, but it's an authentically Hispanic movie that I think works really well.
I think it's a good movie. Yeah,
I think it's good. But it's so by the numbers. Like it's but every time it like deviates or it makes like any time that it isn't by the numbers, the thing that it exchanges the numbers for is authenticity, which I think is also really important, because they need it. And when I say they need it, it's not like they need it as a people. Like, the movie needs to say unapologetically, you don't need the cultural context, because the movie's story will carry you along and you'll figure it out, because it's not like Hispanic people are new.
Right.
It's not like they're not aliens and you need to get the context.
No, I
You'll
understand.
figure it out, and maybe you've heard this before. So moving on, but they didn't. It wasn't like, okay, the first thing we need to understand is we're making a movie for Hispanic people. No, it's like the first thing we need to understand is we need to make a movie.
Good story.
And this movie is going to be selling Blue Beetle.
Yeah.
Make a good story, make it work. That's, for me, that's the most important thing. For them, they were like, we have, and I think that with DC, they were like, we have to make a Supergirl movie. Contractually, we need to make a Supergirl movie. That sucks to be in that position. But if you are in that position, what do you do? And it's like, well, Tom is our like kind of go-to DC guy right now. He made a Supergirl book that's movie length. Let's just make that. That makes sense to me. But that and that movie is, or that book is feminist in its own right.
Sure it is.
And
sure it is.
and is a beacon, and it should be comforting and beautiful for any woman who's interested in reading it. And I should say that the best thing about Supergirl the movie is that it forced DC to publish it in multiple formats, because that book was a commercial failure when it came out.
Agreed.
Which also probably should have been an indicator that maybe it wouldn't make a great movie, in as much as, well, the comic didn't do very well.
Yeah,
would it really work if we gave it $100 million budget?
But again, it is a Supergirl story, and I understood why Corn Sweat is in the movie, and that's fine.
Oh yeah.
But it honored Supergirl, and all I'm saying in terms of making it a little more acceptable, palatable for a younger audience is cut out the slavery thing. Someone also said, by the way, that regarding Lobo and his cigar, that he specifically showed them giant cigars as a model. And I understand, but that was a fake. You could tell if you look at it, it was fake. And it's like, no, just like Starbuck in the old Battlestar Galactica, give him a real fucking cigar. Give him a real, because there are big ass cock-sized, unfortunately.
It is
cigars
comically large. It is comically large,
and that's okay. But there are comically large real cigars.
I agree. My point was it's hard to tell it's a cigar sometimes. I was not really that but I would like to see just the cigar that I know. I want to see a Keith Giffen cigar where it's just
right.
But I mean, again,
anyway.
that's splitting hairs. My issue with that movie is not cigar, is not Lobo's cigar.
No, minor complaint.
But yeah, with but the best thing about Supergirl is that it's getting that, it's selling that book again.
Yes,
it's the $10 mini size. We have the deluxe edition. We got these oversized artist edition of the first issue.
Bilkis. I was so happy for Bilkis. Yeah, and I mean, what a brilliant artist! My God. Yeah.
Oh yeah. And by the way, if you liked Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, the comic book, you should be reading Helena Windhorn. It's a beautiful comic book in its own right. There's a deluxe edition. There's a hardcover edition. There's an amazing bunch of editions.
And another thing that Bilkis did with Snyder, Flyboys.
Oh,
or Barnstormers. I forget what it was called.
Barnstormers. That was Tula Lote, I believe.
Oh, that was Tula. I beg your pardon. I'm so sorry, everybody. 8-1 if you're scoring at home.
Yeah. By the way, if you haven't, Barnstormers is great. It's a lot of fun. I remember Scott pitching that book when he did the Scott-tober suite of books. That was
all the best jacket stuff.
Yeah, all the best jacket stuff. That's right. But
no, he's he immediately told me, he goes, the Great Waldo Pepper, great movie from the 70s about barnstormers and stuff of that period. And I'm like, of course I do. He goes, oh, that's what I'm doing. I'm like, oh, that's great, man. Yeah, you had me at a low. That's fantastic. By the way, very excited for Absolute Batman, the cartoon, and really the whole Absolute line. Isn't it weird? And I want to get into Marvel Comics with you.
Sure, yeah.
I know. Well, and I know this is where your heart is. It's a shame that I don't know, and maybe you've got more insider information why they quit on Hickman's Ultimate Universe, because that really was their Absolute and different enough. I mean, again, Chris and I were talking last night, and he's like, yeah, but the seeds of it are from the original Ultimate Universe. I'm like, very minorly. And again, I like the idea that Crazy Reed Richards created this universe, and that's really interesting. And everything, and Dennis Camp was doing a great job carrying the ball and everything. Yeah. And I don't understand Marvel's strategies. And really, there are I think Zdarsky's doing a great job on Cap. I think that Stephanie's doing a great job on Daredevil. I
Yes.
like anything Ryan North and Jed McKay write. I am there. There are and of course my buddy Philip Kennedy Johnson on Hulk, and Al Ewing on Thor. So there's plenty of stars over there, but there's also just a lot of tie-in shit that doesn't need to be there. Some of it I like, but there's too much of it. One World Under Doom, in my opinion, went on way too long, and wasn't that special. What no. I mean, you know, again, I know you've got your issues, and I don't mean the ones in Mylar bags. What are you thinking about? What are you thinking about Marvel right now?
Well, Marvel just doesn't like your issue with their strategy. There just isn't one. Like the fact is, Marvel hasn't had a strategy in 25 years. Like it's like the last strategy, not 25 years, but the last time they had a strategy, like the Marvel Comics had a strategy. Joe Quesada was editor in chief. Like Civil War was a thing. Like it's
20 years ago.
It's pathetic. Like that 20 years ago, they had a strategy. And they had like coordination, and by the way, they were not infallible, and they made a lot of trash, and they made a lot of terrible decisions. And I didn't agree with most of the creative ideas from the guy who was in charge of it. But I can't deny that they were a unified front that made books that people wanted to effing buy. And they've lost the plot. But the funny thing is, that's Marvel to a T. Marvel's constantly been playing everything close to the vest, but when they're holding a pair of twos, like they're just constantly like. I remember in my studio here. I'm in this weird compound. We share office space with a bunch of other places. And a guy who used to be here but is gone, he used to be he was an ad exec or an ad guy. He was an ad guru who facilitated the sale of I want to say it was Swarovski, but I don't remember which crystals it was. But you know the ball from Times Square that comes down for New Year's? It's made of a bunch of crystals. It might be Swarovski. He's the guy who brokered the deal to get the crystals in that ball. That guy is in my office over there. Or he was. He just moved out. So he's like, we were talking. He's like, what do you do? We talked about comics. He was like, I used to work with comic companies in 1996. And he's like, why don't you call like Marvel and do XYZ? And I'm like, because Marvel doesn't want to work with anybody. And he's like, you know what's funny? That was them in 1996. And proceeds to explain. And everything he said about Marvel and the problems they were having and the issues, but with like their better than you attitude when they were like hemorrhaging money and filing for bankruptcy. It's the same effing attitude they have now. Like the culture at Marvel internally seems to have to always be that like they think they have a flush when they have a pair of when they have a pair of eights. You know, it's like, you know, like I can't deny that a pair of eights is something that you might want, but it doesn't justify your feet on the table. And that's Marvel's attitude all the time. And it's like, and when they win, like when they succeed, they think it's because of their genius, and it's not. It's because of it's because characters that they own obstinately exist still. You know, it's like, and the most emblematic example, unfortunately, and I don't want to throw Joe Kelly under the bus because Joe Kelly is a fantastic writer who's made a million better things than Amazing Spider-Man that he's written, but Amazing Spider-Man has been a mediocre product for, let's say, 12 years. You know, because like you could argue that Dan Slott cared a lot and he had a strategy when it came to Spider-Man.
He had a plan. Absolutely.
And when he was done with a plan, he'd come up with another plan. But he had a strategy. But when you take that away, it's left with nothing. The book always sells. Like every month it comes out, or twice a month it comes out, and it sells over 100,000 copies. That's the best-selling comic book that Marvel publishes, and it's never been better than a 6 out of 10. And like,
what's missing in the story? What's missing in the story for yourself?
Well, story, but like it's missing heart, it's missing stakes, and it's missing it's missing direction. There's no clear cut, like, what's the theme? What's the idea? What's the point? And like, you can't tell me that the Joe Kelly period of like, oh, Spider-Man wants more power. What does that even mean? And like, what does that mean to him? What does that mean to the supporting cast? The other thing is no supporting cast. Spider-Man is one of the best supporting casts in comics / fiction, and they consistently neglect and ignore or refuse to use it. Instead, and it's another problem in Big Two comics and Capes and Tights comics, is everyone wants to be a trailblazer. Nobody wants to just play in the sandbags. They're like, well, I'm here now. Here's Spider-Man's long-lost best friend from childhood. Here's Spider-Man's long-lost cousin. Here's Spider-Man's long-lost ex-girlfriend. Here's this, new symbiote, new goblin, and it's like, there is something to be said for just writing a damn good story that involves the things that already exist. And it's something that like everyone has enjoyed, and like, because no one's favorite Spider-Man story was written in the last 16 years. Like,
okay.
No one is like, oh my God, I love this. Like, I love, New Ways to Die is my favorite Spider-Man story. I mean, not to say that it's not good. It's Dan Slott. It's still under that umbrella, but like, it's directionless. And it's like, it's the fault of the editor. It's a fault of the company. Because it's too big. He's too big.
When Joe was writing Brand New Day, when he was one of those writers, did you like his Spider-Man stuff then?
Brand New Day, yeah, I like Slott's Brand New Day.
Joe was Kelly was one of the writers too.
I'm sorry, I conflated Brand New Day with Big Time.
Okay, yeah, I know that's
Brand New Day.
By the way, that's Marvel to a T. Is too many. All right, now and listen, both companies do their status quos, but I mean, my God, it's like it's truly my favorite example is the year and a half when we had 3 Squirrel Girl #1s. And it's like, you are not doing yourself any favors I don't mind when they go back to legacy numbering. It's fine. But really, I just think both companies would do so much better if it was just Spider-Man Attack of the Goblin 1 through 6, Spider-Man The King Man Returns 1 through 6, or whatever, 4 or 5, or whatever it is, just from a story standpoint. And all right, this is this story, this is that story. Give me some, continuity within the continuity in terms of like knowing where the fuck this is, because I have so many other friends that are lapsed readers that were so excited when Marvel Unlimited started. And it's like, I don't know where to start, and they're freaking out. And it's like, I get it.
And Marvel gives you no rudder. Like, Marvel is not interested in explaining it to you or helping you find your footing there, which is ironic because they're also constantly and have always been chasing those coveted new readers that they're always willing to throw everything away to try and appease. Like, I don't care how well something's working or how good something is, but what if we could get some new readers out of it? And it's just like, it's such a weird thing. Because I look, I'm not the kind of person who's like, just make books for old people or just make things the way they were. Look at poor Nick Spencer, another writer who's like, I like his work. And I think he did a great job with Captain America. And clearly they pulled the rug out from under him to do at the end of that Secret Empire thing. They're just like, no, just make it another guy. But that doesn't make any sense.
Well, because those whiny ass, if I may real fast, because I always love bringing up Secret Empire. Because also, oh my God, oh, you've hurt my childhood. Oh, Cap, Hail Hydra. Oh my God. It's a fucking story and he's going to be fine. Calm the fuck down.
Like, it's not even like it's not even like he changed time. He changed reality with a wish. Just wish it back.
Well, I don't even mind.
You know that's what they're gonna do. Like, yes, like I don't remember who it was actually. I think it was the Red Skull. I don't remember who actually made the wish with the cosmic cube.
It was the skull with the cube.
Yeah,
it was
so like Red Skull was just like, I wish that Captain America had always been Hydra. Okay, and reality's changed. So now Steve has always been a sleeper agent. Sure, that's what you do with that story. And then at the end, you go, I wish that wasn't the case anymore. And then it just doesn't happen anymore. And it's like, but of course, it's the same when like Dan Slott killed Spider-Man and made Doc Ock Spider-Man, and people were mad. And I'm like, what are you doing? You think he's going to be like that forever? And by the way, like halfway through reading Superior Spider-Man, I'm like, boy, if they were smart, because they got new readers out of it, like that actually worked.
Yeah.
People are like, oh, I love Spider-Man in terms of his popularity. It's the same people who like Superman and also think that Superman should murder people. They're like, I want to like an icon and I want to be interesting. So so finally I have a Superman for me, a Superman that would do something that I would do, as opposed to a Superman who would be ashamed of the things that I do morally. Spider-Man, same deal. Like, I love Spider-Man because he looks cool. I wish he were just not such like a dork about everything. That's Superior Spider-Man. Congratulations, you got him. He masturbates to other people's memories. Cool.
When he was messing with Mary Jane,
yeah,
and he pulls her in and she's ready to kiss him and goes, "All right, good night, see you later." That and also when he broke the tarantula's jaw.
Yeah,
and it's like and Doc Ock is like, holy shit, this asshole was holding back all this time. That's the great thing. And really, the first time I saw that was when Bendis was writing. I want to say it was Dark Reign, and Hawkeye is just like about Norman. Let's just go fucking kill him. And Spider's like, you idiot, don't you? I mean, and it's so simple, but he's like, if we kill him, then we're as bad as he is. We got to be better than that. And that's what I love about Spider-Man is every now and then he steps up and is the leader that he should be. And he doesn't and that's another thing that Brian told me when he took over Avengers, 20 years ago. And he's just like, all the rest of the heroes respect Spider-Man. Spider-Man doesn't realize it. And he thinks I can never be as great as Captain America. Or I'll even give it up to Straczynski during Civil War when Tony makes his plea and Peter's like, Tony, everything in me is saying this is the wrong move, but you are smarter than me, so I'm going with you. That said, if you're wrong, I'm coming after you. Yeah. And there's this great moment, I forget who was drawing it at the time, where Tony's like, holy shit. And it's like, yeah. Or again, and I told Jamis this when I had him on the show, when the Kingpin tries to kill Aunt May. And he goes to jail and he beats the fuck out of the Kingpin. And he's like, this is what will happen to you if you come after me and my family. And that's why, like, every now and then when Spider-Man takes the brakes off and is really at his full power, it's like, don't fuck with Spider-Man. He is absolutely that strong. He's amazing.
And it's very like he's having a moment in social media, like a lot of videos being made about like the Spider-Man who doesn't joke. Like when Spider-Man gets quiet, you need to shit your pants and run. But yeah, apropos of this, it's just like Spider-Man is not a very good book right now. And Marvel's not incentivized to make it a good book because a good book takes like time, effort, talent, money. Like let's say I want like a big name on Spider-Man. Well, I got to pay him big name prices. Or I could just get Joe Kelly to do it. Like, and by the way, I love Joe Kelly, but he's not a big name. Like it's not, and that was their lesson. They were like, we don't need the book sells itself.
It's going to sell regardless. It's like Batman, the book, although obviously Fraction.
Really not.
I like what Fraction's doing on Batman. And I also like,
I do too.
I like the Loeb Lee Hush 2 story. I do like it.
Oh, I hate it, but that's fair.
That's fine. Well, regarding Marvel, though, here's, again, my concern. I'm not worried. I'm concerned. And especially given the moves that are happening up top lately with Buckley, he's in the last year now of his contract. He's going to walk away. I worry that even though I understand from an audience standpoint that the TV shows and the movies have a bigger audience, and I kind of understand gearing some of the books towards the television and film products, but it really feels like metaphorically the tail is wagging the dog when you do that. And I don't know the guys that are going to take over, and I don't know how much they're going to influence. I didn't mind when they announced that Feige wanted more involvement in the comics, and that's okay. But again, losing Buckley, and I think Buckley was there during those Quesada great years as well. Yeah. And listen, I root for CB. I like CB Cebulski, and I think he gets what is good. And I just wonder how much his hands are tied, and the rest of editorial and the writers are tied. Their hands are tied because of this. Well, we need and also, by the way, Lancey and Kelly did great Thunderbolts books in anticipation of the movie, but it's like, again, I don't know their choices, and I think the Ultimate Universe cancellation is a prime example of that. And it's like, no, you had something interesting and good happening there. What the fuck are you doing? Why did you? And also same thing with Hickman's Empire or whatever, or what was it called? The sci-fi Imperial or Empire?
Imperial.
Imperial.
Yeah, Empire was years ago. That was
okay. Yeah. I don't know. And obviously, and we all know it, DC is like, yes, on the Absolute Universe. And again, like we said about Firestorm and a lot of the other books, the all-in shit is as good as the Absolute stuff, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And I think, well, you asked a question about the Ultimate Universe as well, where it was like, what's the deal? Like, what's going on with this?
Yeah,
with
why
this
did they?
decision? And I think it's just because they don't have any leadership. They don't have any real leadership, and they don't have any like druthers. And I think they're afraid to like succeed. Like I think there's a part of them that's
Oh,
like,
nobody's afraid to succeed. Come on, man.
I think they are. I think there's a part of them that's like, if we get too big, Disney will notice, and then they'll try to like get involved, and like we can keep our little island.
But again, this was the great thing of Levitz back in the late 70s when Warner Brothers is like, do we really need the monthly comics anymore? And he's like, yes, we do. We are your intellectual property laboratory that can create new things that you can exploit later in cartoons and movies and things. And thank God they listened. And, and I'm surprised because again, I think Kevin Feige obviously loved the comics, and that's why he, was able to move up the ranks. And we got that wonderful 10-year period from Iron Man to Endgame that was so amazing. And because of the respect they had for the broad strokes of the property. But something has happened along the way, and I don't understand it. And again, I'll even admit that I am more of a DC guy than a Marvel guy growing up. I just was. And most of my Marvel came from the cartoons. It was the Bashki cartoon and the Marvel superheroes. And then when I started buying comics, first I bought a lot of DC stuff, and then it was the Treasury Edition stuff that, like, my first Fantastic Four was the Treasury Edition. Nice. My first Avengers was the Treasury Edition. And they were reprinting these amazing stories. So then I got into Marvel. And again, I like Marvel, and I am rooting for folks at Disney. If you're listening, I really appreciate the access I get as a press person, and I don't want to jeopardize any of that because and again, I think Zdarsky's doing a great job on Cap. I'm really happy for Stephanie and what she's doing with Daredevil.
Yeah, I think there's
Ryan
talent.
North,
There's people.
Philip Kennedy Johnson, Al Ewing. Good Lord, I love everything, even at the weirdness of Venom, of Mary Jane becoming Venom. I'm like, good for you, Al. But I mean, Thor is amazing. But how are you with the whole Paul of it all?
I mean, like, I have the same opinion about Paul that I do about Martha, where it's like, I'm sick of it. I was sick of it before it became nauseating. Like I was when the audience was like, "What about Paul?" I'm like, like, Pickle Rick, like you're
Pickle Rick. I love Pickle Rick.
But I like him too. But like, Jesus Christ, don't get a tattoo of it. Like,
well, that's fair. And also, we just let the one episode stand. Absolutely.
Yeah, like just let us. They like if you love making Paul memes, you probably also harassed McDonald's employees for Szechuan sauce when that episode came out.
I know, what assholes. I remember that.
Right?
What assholes. Jesus Christ.
Just come up with get some new materials, what I'm saying. And it's just like,
are you liking this season? Are you liking Rick and Morty this season? I think it's been great.
Okay, so
talk to me.
I like Rick and Morty a lot. I like the show. I think it's funny. I understand why they made the change.
Yeah, that's unfortunate, but I do too.
Right. Like, I get why they did it. It sucks because the product has been tampered with as a result. Like, Rick and Morty is not the same show anymore.
Interesting.
But I liked, like, part of the thing that I liked about Rick and Morty is like the character that was also added to them from the voice. The guy who plays Rick is doing a great job. That's all I'll say about that. Like,
wow,
the guy who's doing Morty gets worse every episode.
Oh, I haven't seen Sundays. I'm liking this season. I got to be honest, man. They're going to come. Summer are coming to Terrificon.
Terrificon, I know.
I'm bugging the shit. Sally, you going to be able to make it?
I don't know. I'm going to San Diego, so
I was going to ask. Okay, no, and listen, man. I understand.
I want to go. I think it'd be great. I looking at the roster,
but also,
like, an incredible lineup.
One after the other. You need to recharge, and dude, it only gets worse as you get older. I'm sorry to say. I remember when Wizard Chicago was literally the next weekend after San Diego, and I did both.
Oh.
And I mean, truly, all the creators are dragging their asses and like, it's good to see you, but fuck me, I'm tired as hell. And I get, and also,
we're not doing a late night hangout.
That was when Ringo died as well. So it was even like another bummer that happened the Chicago weekend and everything. But no, well, I'm glad you're going to San Diego, so that's cool.
Yeah.
Are you moderating any panels or anything?
No, I haven't been invited to do anything for anybody. We're doing a couple of interviews, but like,
Sure.
That's kind of it. We had
Okay.
we had a fun panel with Josh last year, but as you probably know, I think we probably talked about it. Podcasts aren't allowed in the big building, so we were stuck in the library.
It's the one thing that drives me crazy. And I'm glad. And Josh was willing to go to the library with you and everything.
Oh yeah. He came to the thing, and we did the show to like the audience that came, and they were super awesome and gracious, and we really appreciate everybody who showed up, and it was a fun show, and we had a good time. But and I was sick as a dog. That was the other thing. Like I got sick, and by the way, I had a cold. It was not COVID. I got tested and all that stuff.
No, it happens.
But I was sick, and it was
That
day
sucks.
one. Day one, I was like, I don't know if I'm coming down with something. And then the next day, I was a disaster, and it didn't get better for 2 weeks. So that show was ruined, and also my week after that was a disaster, and it was just so rough. And and I had to go, and I was invited. It was very kind. I was invited to go see Fantastic Four at the midnight showing. So I saw that with the team, with Josh and Tom and Scott, and Tom was
Sure.
and we saw Fantastic Four, and then I had already gotten tickets to see Fantastic Four with that group the next morning, but my roommate and I needed to go see it that morning as well. So I saw it at midnight. I got home at 3, and then at 10 I saw Fantastic Four again. And by that point, I was a zombie, and it was
that happened to me at Emerald City the one year I did Emerald City, and thankfully I didn't get sick until Saturday night. And Sunday I was so sick I couldn't even go to the convention, and it was bumming me out. So I literally went, checked out of my hotel, spent 4 hours waiting for my flight, and sitting, at the gate
in the terminal,
just miserable, miserable. So
I wanted to go home. I was thinking maybe I should get out of here.
It hurts.
And I just loaded up on Sudafed, and I took.
What
a
else
COVID
can you do?
test.
Yeah, man.
I was like, if I'm a nightmare, if I'm a problem, I need to quarantine, and I was, and it was just stupid. But it was funny because I was like, I don't know, maybe I won't go to Fantastic Four. Maybe I'll just wait. So I went to bed. I got in bed, and I fell asleep, and I was about to fall asleep, and I got a text from Josh going, "Where are you?" And I'm like, in the cab. And then I went out and got in the Uber and drove but that's a great show.
Oh, it's an amazing show.
I wish I had more I don't know, more to do, not that I need more to do, but I wish I had tentpole things. Again, that's where the panel is successful and helpful. It tethers you, you're like, I'm going to be at this place at this time for this amount of time, and come see me there.
Right.
As opposed to if you see me at San Diego, take a picture, because it might be the last time you see me today, or this weekend.
Well, that's what and especially in my formative years with Word Balloon, it was so great because I had a year, I want to say it was 2010, where Hickman, Bendis, and Stewart and Catherine Immerman are all like, hey, if you're going to San Diego, would you be interested in moderating my panel? Nice. And I had a couple of people say it this year as well. But back then, I wasn't planning on going. And I'm like, and thank God I had a high-paying radio job at the time. And I'm like, oh, fuck, I guess I'm going to San Diego. So I bought the tickets. I stayed at a Motel 6, in Chula Vista. Not maybe not that far, but it was 20 minutes away from the Gaslamp District. So I had to take a cab every day. And that was fine. But what I loved was by this motel, there was a Jack in a Box and an AMPN mini mart. And that was it. So I'd pack my duffel bag and have stuff. But also a couple of times I needed the Jack in the Box, and it was right near all the military bases. And I know there were hookers in line with me at Jack in the Box waiting to place our orders. So that was hilarious. And it was the most scuzziest motel. And again, but I had to go cheap because I wasn't planning on doing it.
Well, it's last minute. Yeah, exactly.
And I'll spring break it when I do go to San Diego. But my God, I just don't have $2,000 to drop between airline and food and hotel. And that's even cheap. So, I give you a shit ton of credit being able to go. And really, I'm thrilled. I think the comic book counseling couple is going.
Oh, comic book couples.
And I know Dave Harper is going, and that's wonderful. And I'm glad I had my 12-year stretch that I was going. And it's all right. And really, I'm not trying to be, I don't need to go anymore. I love that thing. And I wish I had the scratch to go because I know I'd have a great time. And like you, I'd be able to arrange, interviews and things like that. But man, it's a shame that it is so expensive, and I feel bad for the average comic book fan. God, I used to feel. I mean, you saw it. I'm sure there are still kids that backpack it and sleep on the ground outside the convention center and shit.
They've got it. Like I saw, I saw them do that for Hall H, like after the Eisners one year, but I don't see anybody like I remember
Maybe
one.
They don't let them anymore. Maybe they don't let them do it anymore.
They probably don't. I remember seeing, one of the years I left the Eisners, I was at I went to the Eisners, which don't.
It's long.
Fun.
It's very long.
It's a lot of fun because, like, wow, you're here, and it's like the Academy Awards for comics and stuff, and that's really cool. And look at it's they're the stars have all come out this way. But and then afterwards, there's like a little there's a mixer.
Everybody goes out to the lobby and hangs
to the
out
lobby, and that's really cool and that's fun.
Yeah.
You get to mix it up.
Yeah.
And but the other problem is, like, if that is successful and you do talk to people, because then, like me, you leave at 4:00 in the morning, and for you it's 3 hours behind, so it's actually 6 or 7 o'clock in the morning for you, and so you're wandering back. And I will say, I didn't see a lot of people sleeping on the ground outside of like the Hall H crowd.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, like, I think moreover you're seeing a lot of Airbnbs, but a lot of like people just tripling and quadrupling up, where it's like, okay, we're gonna get a hotel room with one bed, and there are 6 people.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Sal Abenati always told me, even when he was going and he had no money, he's sleeping in bathtubs and stuff in hotel rooms. Yeah. No, absolutely, man.
I can't sleep in a bathtub those days.
Well, I'm the same way, Sal. I'm too old. I mean, I even do a couple of the shows I slept on the floor and shit. And I did the Airbnb thing a couple times too. But
sure,
yeah, I'm sorry, I'm old, man. Thank you, Mitch Halleck and Terrificon, for flying me out and putting me up in a nice room and everything.
Yes.
So
and that's the wonderful thing. Like I would not be going, but like my dad was talking about it with like somebody at like some restaurant he was at, like, because I was just like, he's like, oh, are you gonna go to New York or San Diego Comic-Con this year? And I'm like, nah, it's just too expensive. I can't. Like, I got a room, but like I'm going to cancel it because I can't afford flights. Just like I can't afford all of it. I'm going to be, I think, 30 minutes away. Like I'm not.
There you go. Yeah.
I'm not next door. Like I can't. It's just you can't. You can't even be like 6 blocks away anymore. Even
like
when
the
I
US
started
Grand, like the US Grand further I forget what direction. But yeah, like you said, a few blocks away.
And there are more hostels there than there ever were before. And
I know.
And I'm like, I'm not sleeping in a hostel. I'm not bringing my wife to a hostel. I'm not.
Well, that's very exactly. Poor Tiff. Exactly. You wouldn't do that.
I'm a teenager. I'm not a teenager. I'm not doing that.
One year, and before it became a thing, I was talking about this with Jonah Weiland, the former owner of Comic Book Resources. Before they were doing hey, let's have the golf cart and take people and interview them on the boat and stuff like that.
Yes.
Jeremy Hahn and I and a couple other creators chartered a boat to sleep on it and stuff. That was amazing. And it really was wonderful. But then everybody figured that out. And so those prices skyrocketed. Yeah. So, it's hard to do it on a budget. And that's my life right now. So I can't really afford it,
Yeah. It's tough.
And I don't want to, I know some people will kickstart. Oh, please send me to San Diego. I'm like, you guys support me. You support me enough with Word Balloon.
I would never consider that.
Listening to the show, dealing with the commercials. Thank you, everybody that does that. I know there are some shows. A lot of shows don't have commercials. I'm like, yeah, I understand. I kind of think my stuff is special because I am interviewing creators, and I really am, and especially now that I'm really going balls to the wall and do it as much as I do. I'm like, I think I'm doing something beyond, doing a critique or other shows and stuff. I mean, my God, you've got a million great shows, so you're doing a million other things. So
yeah, I'm always busy, and I don't know why I don't like it. Not that I don't like doing the shows. I don't like being busy, and so I'm just, but every time someone's like, hey, you want to do a show? I'm like, yep, like immediately. I'm like, yes, of course. But
like today, exactly.
This is the easiest show I'll ever do. But,
my man, I feel the same way in the best way because it just does, and truly, and I see it based on the numbers of who's watching and how many people are watching right now. No, people like this, And
They
also,
do. They're really,
like,
they're really
by the way, all right, and then really, we've gone over 2 hours, and I apologize if I'm keeping you from Tiff, and you want to wrap up real fast. X-Men '97, I'm loving it.
Yeah, I love it too. It's fantastic. I mean, it's it's yeah. I think it's a great show. It looks beautiful. I want more. I can't believe that after, because it's been 2 years, I think, since the last season.
Since the last season, I think it has been 2 years.
And it's
but
like
that's the
you need to
rhythm.
tell-
That's the streaming rhythm, unfortunately.
Oh, I know, and it's animated. Like it's
Yes.
I'm glad. You know what? Unlike the Netflix model where it's like, you don't know, maybe the next season will be total dog shit. Like with this, it's like, no, the next season will be good. Like, and it'll look, or at least it'll look amazing. This is great. I can't believe that after the success of X-Men 97 season 1, they weren't like, okay, Spider-Man 97, Avengers 97, Guardians 97. Like, how could you not think that this is the way to go? But I mean, like, these are also the people who canceled Earth's Mightiest Heroes, which is the best possible way to get people to be excited about Marvel characters that are difficult to get them excited about, like Graviton or friggin' or Kang the Conqueror. Like the best adaptation of Kang in Marvel's history is in that cartoon show, and they canceled it to make a vastly inferior show just because it looks kind of like the MCU. It's also uglier and poor and with worse animation.
That's what I was going to say about Avengers 97 is, as much as I appreciated the idea, and again, I'm older, I couldn't warm up to it. And I'll even admit I didn't watch the original X-Men of that era as well. But I heard people raving about this one. And God, I got to, I mean, I hate to say it, but it is part of the story. The original showrunner of 97 and all his controversy is insane. And I read that. Did you read that Vanity Fair article that just came out?
No, I did not read the most recent thing about it.
I get the guy got to interview him when he was aggrieved by getting kicked off of season 1 or when it was over.
Yeah.
And you know, he is still listed as a producer. And as I understand it, this second season, some of his stuff might have been tweaked by some of the new guys a little bit, but it's still, I mean, he gets a writing credit for so far the 4 episodes. He gets a major.
I know. I saw his name on all over the show, and I'm like, okay, well, not that kicked off, but you know, he's there. You know.
Yeah. Well, and again, listen, have your personal life and whatever. Unfortunately, you know, Disney. I mean, the same shit happened to Gunn until the cast of Guardians said, "Fuck you, we're making this movie with him, or we're not making it." And that was the reprieve that Gunn got. And unfortunately, this guy's choices are clouding. And again, it's the mouse, and you know, the mouse has their rules.
That's true. I don't know. I don't know much about his situation, and I almost deliberately so don't know that situation well enough to really speak intelligently on the subject. All I know really is just like he got fired. There was an OnlyFans involved, but there's even more. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't wanna because he doesn't work there no more. So it's not relevant.
But you know, SoCal is just telling me say his name, Bodor, and I don't even forgive my implication of the tone.
SoCal. No, I'm not.
I apologize. I am happy to say his name. I've been saying his name. I said it on Sunday when me and the guys reviewed the show so far. No, Bodo Mayo, I don't. You got to separate the art from the artist. Bill Cosby was still a really incredible comedian, despite being a horrible person. And I'm not saying Bodo DeMeo is a terrible person, but it is he's got a complicated life, and he's made complicated choices that, if you're working with Walt Disney, makes it hard to stay with the company. They've got it's lousy, but these are the corporate rules, and
I don't care for it. And it's like it's frustrating to see, like, you know, I don't like the idea of people being like untrue to themselves because a company is afraid of losing money. But I don't know enough about it. I'd heard that it wasn't as cut and dry as, like, you know, DeMeo having like a private life, but I don't know, and I don't, you know, I'm not going to speak to it.
If anyone is curious, I would suggest reading the Vanity Fair article.
I'll do it. Yeah,
I think it is very interesting. I mean, I sympathized with Millie Alcock when she was interviewed before Supergirl, and again, the haters all jumped on her and stuff.
Yeah,
but it's just all I can say is it's very interesting, and if you want to get more beyond the headlines of the guy that really is killing it on X-Men 97 is suddenly fired. What the hell? And yes, he's a man of color, and yes, he's a gay gentleman, but it is a more intricate story. And again, it's like
that's the thing. I'd heard it wasn't either of those things that were the problem, that's all.
Yeah, I don't think it was those in terms of just blatantly, but he has. No. I mean, I will say, and a little teaser for the story. He makes porn now, and he makes porn that involves his choice of lifestyle, and that's fine. But when you're working for the mouse, and especially when the mouse is trying to sell toys, that might be a problem.
No, exactly. I wouldn't be surprised if I were fired for that. But that's
us.
Ridiculous.
I hear you, man. All right, Sal.
X-Men is a great show.
I apologize for keeping it as long as we did, but
no, that's
I hope it. All right, that's cool, man. Well, I love talking to you, and I'm so sorry that I haven't seen you in person. I haven't had a chance to go to any East Coast shows where we can get together. Baltimore doesn't like me anymore. Those guys don't like me anymore.
I know. Yes, it's a shame. I haven't been to Baltimore in a couple of years because they keep putting the show out like on the weekend before or after New York, and I'm like, I can't go to Baltimore right now, man. And I love Baltimore's like show. I like the lineup, and I like that show a lot. I just haven't been able to go. And but who knows? I mean, like, if New York says no to like everything that we applied for, maybe we won't go to New York. I do like that show too. I would love to go to Terrificon because I wouldn't mind the excuse to drive up to Mohegan Sun. And San Diego's happening. That'll be fun. It's going to be very hot. It's already hot here, so it's like, okay.
Oh my God, we're 90s. It's been 90s since Monday.
Yeah, 98. It was horrible. I got ice cream today, almost all melted. I was like, what the hell?
That's funny. I bought an ice cream bar as well. It's in the freezer, but I'm like, I need
walking outside. I was like, this is horrible.
I'm with you, man. Well, all right. Well, we'll see how the rest of the year goes, and hopefully before the end of the year, let's definitely reconvene and do more.
That'd be great. We should do a panel or something. I mean, like if depending on where it is, you might be in the main building.
Well,
New York is taking them.
The vagrancies of San Diego, but what are you going to do? No, honestly, this is why I love doing this on camera, because I just think a podcasting panel isn't as special as it like where it's just us podcasters. It's not as special as it was when I started, and even as it was going on. And especially they just kind of, unfortunately, and I understand a lot of people want to do panels at San Diego, and I didn't mind when it was like, all right, well, your panel's going to be at 8:00 at night. All right, now your panel's going to be at 9:00 at night. But we were still in the convention thing. I give Josh a lot of credit for walking over to the library, because I would get people that would be willing to do it, and then they're like, oh, we're at the library? Well, John, it's going to take 15 minutes to get there, 15 minutes back, plus the hour. I can't be off the floor for 90 minutes. It's okay to do it for a panel, but 90 minutes is too long. And I'm like, no, I get it. And I would try to tell the programmers, you're not doing us any favors. And that's why eventually I just stopped doing the panel, because I'm like, all right, if they don't give enough damn about it to put it in the convention center. And also there were and also there's a lot of bickering for the people that I had. I'll tell you off the air, some of the idiots. And it's just like, because some of them would like big time and walk in the middle of the panel. And it's like, well, I was doing interviews in the press room. And I'm like, well, this is your fucking panel. So if your fucking panel isn't important to you, then you're not on next year. How dare you? I'm like, sorry, guys, I'm in charge of the panel. You're gone. Bye. Boo-hoo. Yeah. So, and I didn't want to get that petty. But this guy's a douche. And I'll tell you about what I'm talking about.
We'll talk about it off, Mike. But I just want to give people an opportunity to like go, like, if I lose a lot of money when I go to these conventions. They don't. I don't make any money going to conventions. And really the main reason is like it's twofold. It's seeing the audience, and it's networking. It's connecting with the people who make up my livelihood. And so I like the opportunity to like give people a place to go, to be like, hey, if you want to meet me here. And then and then you'll enjoy the rest of your show without having to like figure out where the hell to go next. We do that with New York. We always do like a meetup, because New York has rejected every panel we've had since 2006. Like
when I find, and I am, everybody, just a little update. The book is coming along great.
All right.
I swear to God. And well, if you're a Word Balloon subscriber of $3 or more, You're getting highlights of what will be in the book already with the magazine the e-magazine that we put out. Mike Carlin, by the way, next issue, but I'm already working on the issue after that. But yeah, maybe when I have the book and I have something to sell, I might do some more conventions. But that's the other thing, because it's like, yeah, I mean, obviously I'm selling Word Balloon in the brand as you are with Comic Pop, but it's like, no, like you said, it's like, I'm not, I mean, God, when I even did the Art of Oming book, yes. I did a couple things, but we didn't have Oming there. So we didn't, I only sold a handful of books, and it's like, I thankfully they invited me. Utah, Salt Lake City Con, or FanX in Salt Lake City. That was the show that I ended up doing. And cool. I sold a couple books, but not a lot. But
right, it wasn't. Yeah, it didn't pay for itself, certainly.
No, it did not. So, all right, Sally, go back and hang out with Tiff. Give her my best.
Indeed. I will. Thank you, sir. Good to see you again. Always a pleasure. It's always fun. Thank you, Word Balloon fans, for being here and checking out.
And thank you, Comic Pop fans, who saw that Sal was going to be on and populated the chat. And this was wonderful. I am. Let's see what. As I said, Thursday I'm talking to Morgan, and I'm forgetting Morgan's last name. Green Lantern Corps. But yeah, we all know we know who I'm talking about. And God, again, Jeremy and Tim Sheridan are like, "Have you had Morgan on?" I'm like, "No." And they're like, "Oh, you gotta have Morgan on." God,
is it Morgan Hampton?
On. Yeah, probably Green Lantern Corps guy.
Yeah.
Yes. All right, Morgan Hampton, everybody. So Morgan's coming on. He'll be on Thursday night for Word Balloon Live. Check us out then. Until then, everybody stay safe, stay happy, stay healthy.